Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. Game week 13, and this is when the season truly begins, as we're about to go into that crazy period. We've got another deadline stream on Tuesday, then another one on Saturday. 3 deadlines and 3 deadline streams in the space of 8 days. We are at crunch time this season. Welcome back. I hope you're having a wonderful day, morning, evening, wherever you're tuning in from. If you are wondering, UK time, if you're not in the UK, it is currently 4:30 p.m. and it is, when I say pitch black, I mean pitch black, completely dark. It does feel a bit weird. I think someone just literally said it feels weird having a deadline stream in the dark. Doesn't happen too often, but here we are anyway. So let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know what you're doing right now. Good to see, obviously, some of the regulars in here. Good to see you, Claudia, as always. I've already seen some people in Burmo. Captain is the way forward. You're not necessarily wrong. I actually quite like that. We'll discuss, obviously, captaincy is going to be the major discussion throughout today's stream. Even though I've already spoken about it for many hours already this game week, I'm still going to discuss it a little bit more. And yeah, I'm actually yet to make my transfers. So if I'd have made my transfers at the start of the week, I think I would have gained 0.4 million. So I think I've lost 0.4 million this week, which obviously isn't ideal. But I just didn't know what might happen, right? Lots of players were playing in Europe. We obviously had some press conferences to go, and you just never know, especially when you're bringing in players like, I'm looking to bring in the likes of Isaac and João Pedro, who don't have a particularly good history with injuries currently. So I just thought there was enough for me to just decide, you know what? I've got the money in the bank if I want to make the transfers. I'm not going to be priced out. Let me wait. So yeah, there's definitely merit because I'm still planning the same 3 transfers that I was planning on Sunday evening. But I'm still happy I waited because I think that was the correct thing to do in my position. But yeah, we are at that point of the season where we're going to start approaching in like 10, 12 game weeks, maybe the window for the second wildcard being open. And you do want your value to be as good as possible. But I'd almost rather have all of that extra info every week. I'm not a massive early transfers kind of person, to be honest. Tight up in the chat. Good to see you, my legend. What a man. I love seeing the regulars in the chat. They're not only there, obviously, for the videos, but also for the live streams. I appreciate you all very much. Joseph Stack has become a Rap Tier 2 member already. What a legend. What a start to the stream. Glad I didn't listen to you about Cunha. I'm not going to lie, I feel terrible. Last week, I told loads of people to bench Cunha. I honestly, I did say to Pickle, the context needs to be applied. So Wolves only accumulated 1.25 XG last week, which is not much. It was actually one of the lowest of the game week. And a lot of that came after Anderson was off and they were down to 10 men, Fulham, because they'd made 5 subs. So I do feel like, actually, it might have not been that bad of a decision, you know? Because Cunha's second goal, which made it really painful, was obviously after they were down to 10 men. Joseph Stack says, my egg, how's it going, mate? I'm actually doing all right, thanks. I'm not going to lie to you, chat. I had a nap not that long ago. So this is post-nap Ross. Do I nap regularly? Yeah, I actually do. Here's a fact for you, chat, as we move over to my team. Did you know that humans, evolutionary speaking, are actually biphasic sleepers? Here we are. We're going to get nerdy now. What we mean by biphasic is humans do sleep twice every 24 hours, evolutionary speaking. So, you know, we normally, as humans now, just sleep for like preferably 8 hours in one go. That isn't how humans evolved to sleep. We should be napping. So if anyone has a go at you for napping, just say, listen, humans' sleep patterns are supposed to be biphasic. And then they're gonna say, well, I've got nothing to say to that. Moving on to FPL, I know what I'm doing, I think, but I'm yet to make my transfer. So I've got 3 free transfers and 0.2 million in the bank. I think I'm going to sell Haaland, Dibbling, and Raul Jimenez for one of Isaac or Jackson, which is probably my key decision. I think I'm leaning Isaac, Saka, and João Pedro. So I will show you those transfers and how that will make the team look. So yeah, Haaland, at the moment, I'm just leaning Isaac because I think his minutes are slightly more secure. He doesn't have the 4 yellows and he's on penalties. But I do really like Nicholas Jackson. And I do wonder if it's putting so many people off that he does have the 4 yellows and that he might be rotated midweek. That maybe that's a very good reason to go for him. So yeah, then Saka in, and then Raul Jimenez to João Pedro does feel like a transfer that's probably worth making. I mean, I have lost 0.2 on João Pedro this week alone, not moving early. But yeah, those are the 3 transfers. Dibbling, Raul, Haaland, Saka, João, Isaac. I do just think it's a nice set of upgrades, basically. Humans are not supposed to pay tax either. There we go. Now, I will just say, please pay your taxes. And you can't speak to HMRC and say, listen, FPL Raptor told me humans don't pay taxes, okay? So I'm not being held responsible for that. Hayden says, Haaland, Semenyo, Chiwomi to Saka, Cunha, João Pedro, -8. Haaland out for a -8 never feels good, but when you're telling me you're bringing in Saka, Cunha, and João Pedro, yeah, I'd probably just do it. Have a bit of fun with FPL. That is going to be the motto of the stream this evening. Have a bit of fun. Hi, Ross. Would you start Brennan Johnson or Watkins? Ooh. Ooh. I would start Oliver, but I think Brennan Johnson probably does start. Oh, that's a really tough one. Yeah, I'd just about lean Ollie Watkins, but I think that's incredibly difficult, DK. John says, haven't been all that active on FPL this year, but it looks like a pretty weird season, or is it just because I'm not following as I used to? It has been quite a weird season, actually. And to be honest, we haven't really had a template emerge until now. This is probably the first time this season when it has got, like, I can already see there's 2 messages in the chat saying very template. This is the first time this season when there has been a template emerge. So I'm not having people complaining about a template when it's only happened once really in like 13 game weeks. Up until this point, the diversity of teams has been really, really big. And the thing is, yes, my team, right? If you look at my team now, it looks very template. If you switch between content streams, they're going to have largely the same players. But people will be at different stages. Like, not everyone is already going to have Cunha, João Pedro, Salah, Palmer, Saka, and Burmo, who are the players that people want to jump onto. People are going to be staggered. Also, some people will go for Jackson rather than Isak. Some people will have Semenyo rather than Rodgers. Some people will have double Arsenal defence. Some people won't. So, yeah, there is absolutely a big template emerging with those players that I've mentioned there. But for good reason. Like, if I talk through the players, they're all penalty-taking talisman. In Burmo, Palmer, Salah, Saka, João Pedro, Isak, and Cunha, 7 of my 8 attackers that a lot of people have, they're all on penalties. Like, why would you not want them? They pretty much all have good minutes. I've also said, by the way, if you want more João Pedro propaganda, the only 3 games this season that João Pedro's been fully fit, he played 81, 90, 90. I think people are forgetting how good his minutes were in those first 3 games. So, and Welbeck was playing well at that time. I mean, they didn't have Jorginho Ruta in the squad at that point. Evan Ferguson wasn't fit. So I'm aware they have more competition now. But I see no reason why, in a few games' time, I'm not saying right now because he's still building up his fitness, but once João Pedro's fitness is there, I see no reason why he wouldn't get, on average, 80 minutes a game. I think his minutes will be really, really good. So I don't think João Pedro's being overhyped at all. Especially when, if you look at the fixtures, Aston Villa's not that tough of a game that you wouldn't want to play João Pedro. Arsenal is a rubbish game in 20. But other than Arsenal in 20, would you happily play João Pedro against Chelsea? Yeah, you would in 25. So, between now and game week... honestly, I would argue between now and game week 37, there are 3 games that I really desperately wouldn't want to play João Pedro. Now, I'm not suggesting I will keep him for that length of time, but it is a really nice run of fixtures. Like, they've got a lot of their most difficult games out the way, Brighton. They've already played Arsenal away. They've already played Liverpool away. They've already played City at home. They've had some tough games against the likes of Newcastle, Spurs, Chelsea already. So, I just think João Pedro is just such a good transfer in. And I think the earlier you can jump on him, the better. Because obviously, he's got Southampton this week, Leicester in 15. I mean, he's still got a nice run after that. I just think the hype is justified. I know a lot of people are going to hate how many people are like desperate to bring him in, but I just do think it makes a lot of sense, to be honest. Right, let me make sure I answer some of these super chats that I've missed. And then John, as a follow-up, John said, big up to FPL, think they got the pricing perfect this season, making a lot of different options and no real template team, like you said. Yeah, like, it's mad up until this point how everyone's teams have looked so different. Like, the first big decision was Haaland or no Haaland. And that wasn't just at the start of the season. That then happened around game week 6, 7, 8. And then after that, you've had loads of really good mid-priced forwards now in the likes of Isak and Watkins and Jackson. Then with the cheap forwards, I've not got Chris Wood, who's done really well. Welbeck's done really well too. With the cheap midfielders, you've got Rodgers and Semenyo. Like, there are players emerging at every price point. So I agree, mate. I think they've absolutely nailed it this year. Joseph says, glad to finally join as a member. Your streams, vids, and advice have led me being top 7k. 804 points so far this season. I'm not taking any responsibility for you being top 7k, but congratulations. I'm glad my content helps a little bit, but that is all on you. I mean, I'm ranked 790k, so I definitely can't take all of the credit for that rank, but massive congratulations, Joseph. That's crazy. Top 7k. I could only dream. Connor says, hey Ross, would you do Haaland and Smith Rowe to Palmer and Cunha for a -4? Haaland and Smith Rowe to Palmer and Cunha. Yeah, I would do that for a -4. I think you're upgrading both there. I'd rather Palmer than Haaland. I'd rather Cunha than Smith Rowe. Could that backfire? Yes, obviously, Haaland and Smith Rowe could both bag this week, but I think overall, you're taking out two players with away fixtures this week, two players that aren't necessarily in the best run for two players at home on penalties in Palmer and Cunha. I'd get that done, Connor. I don't know what to do with Guardiola, sell or keep. I would definitely keep Guardiola. He's an absolute monster. I would really, really keep him, honestly. I think I'm honestly tempted to bring Guardiola in a few weeks. I think he's that good. So I understand there'll be temptation to move Guardiola to an Arsenal defender, like maybe Guardiola to Timber. That might be on the agenda. Maybe you could do that, but I would probably just keep. Dashmate says, glad to see you've recovered yoke holder. Yoke holder, that's a new one. I like that. Verbruggen, Dallo, Gabriel, Eight Nuri, Ahmad Bruno, and Burmo, Salah captain, Isaac Cunha, João Pedro. Why have you put Salah captain and João Pedro captain? Are you trying to confuse me there, or are you asking which one? I probably would go Salah out of the two. Your bench is Fabianski, Palmer, Canate, Hall. You're benching Palmer? No, surely not. Saka in for Palmer. Firstly, I would never bench Palmer in a million years. I'd bench Ahmad out of those options there. And no, I would not. I've seen a couple of people suggest this actually. With all of Palmer's blanks, would you sell Palmer for Saka? I actually still think I would marginally prefer Palmer over Saka. So no, I wouldn't suggest that. I would just keep. But I would like to get. I would probably, if that was my team next week, I would probably try and make a double or triple transfer to get Bruno to Saka. So I would maybe like downgrade Mbermo to a cheaper option, upgrade Bruno, and then if you have to free up the funds another way, you might have to make like one more transfer to get there. But I wouldn't be selling Palmer. Thank you for the super chat though, mate. Fuel Your Grind says, big up to you, Ross. Thank you very much. Big torn between who to sell from Rogers Semenyo alongside Haaland. Done Haaland to Cunha. Is a -4 worth buying Saka? Yeah, I would probably take a -4 to buy a Saka, and I might actually, I've changed my opinion slightly, but I think going into the busy period, now that Semenyo's got that booking out the way, I think I would marginally prefer Semenyo to Rodgers. So I would probably sell Rodgers and keep Semenyo. But I think it's very close. I just think Semenyo's more of a 90-minute man. I think Rodgers' minutes will be managed. They're very clearly favouring the Champions League this season, Aston Villa. Like, Emery's really going for the Champions League. So I just think they've got a couple of European midweeks coming up before and around Christmas. I would probably sell Rodgers. Yeah, and I would probably take the -4 as well. But very nice team, it sounds like. Paul says, Ross, what's your opinion on Delap? Is he a sell or a keep? If you've got a spare free transfer, I would do Delap to João Pedro. But if you've not got, I wouldn't take a hit to sell Delap. Like, Delap's been very good in recent weeks. He's accumulated around 2 XG in the last 2 weeks. He's had big chances, 3 big chances in the last 2 weeks for Delap. It's some really good stats. Ross, where has the outro music gone on the videos? I actually got copyright strike. And by the way, not a correct copyright strike, but I had a small copyright strike on that song. I think it's been lifted now, but I need to do a tester video because I obviously don't want to get a risk of a strike and a potential ban. So that's where it's gone, but it should be back soon if the artist that made the track has sorted out the issues. But yeah, I'll try and look into that soon. Izzy Gaming says, Mr. Egg, hi. Hello, Izzy. Bruno or take a -4 for Matoma or Saka? I would keep Bruno for one more week. Let's assess, because in the Europa League, he obviously played in a deeper role, basically like a number 8 rather than number 10. I would definitely favour Saka ahead of Matoma. By the way, Matoma's a very spicy punt. But yeah, next week, Bruno to Saka feels good, but I'd give Bruno one more week. I don't think it's worth a hit. If it was for free, I'd be tempted. But yeah, I probably wouldn't take a hit. Discover with Sim says, looking to bring in Salah, Saka and Evanilson for Jimenez, Haaland and Madueke. Okay, it will be a huge 12-point hit, but is it worth it? I have Cunha, Palmer and Rodgers already. A 12-point hit to get Salah, Saka and Evanilson for Jimenez, Haaland and Madueke. I mean, that is such a humongous upgrade, I think, in those 3 transfers. But a 12-point hit. Let's say that one of those players of Jimenez, Haaland and Madueke get anything. Oh, it's tough. I wonder if you just go one more week with Haaland rather than Salah. And just try and... 12 points is so massive. 8 points. If you told me it was an 8-point hit, I'd still be on the fence. But 12 points? I would probably say no, Sim. But it is such a massive upgrade that if you would just be so much happier looking at your team going into the December period and just think, I would just love looking at my team. It would really improve it overall and I would just get more enjoyment owning those 3 players. Maybe you just get it done. but it's just such a massive amount of points that you're losing there, 12 points. Craig says, evening, Ross. Glad you're on the mend. Haaland and Dunk to Pedro and Timber. Very nice. Decided to captain João Pedro 2 over Salah for some reason. I like it. Honestly, do you know what's put me off João Pedro is two things. Firstly is the minutes, right? He's probably not going to get more than 70 to 75, but also he's playing tonight. Like, if João Pedro blanks tonight, you've got to sit there after the game on a Friday night thinking, that's my captaincy blanked. And you've then got to go through Saturday and Sunday with a captaincy blank. It just doesn't feel very nice. But at the same time, if he goes absolutely nuclear, what a start to the game week. I mean, you're buzzing. What a Friday night that is. It's tough. Claudia actually asked a good question. She says, how much will Eva Nilsson be affected by Semenyo's suspension this week? I think Bournemouth in general will be a little bit weaker. I will just say that Semenyo's not necessarily a massive creator for Bournemouth. I think he does a lot in terms of creating chances for the team by his runs and his ability on the ball, but I don't think he necessarily creates tons of chances for Eva Nilsson. And I do think they have some decent cover to go on in that position. So I think, let's say it makes him a 5 to 10% weaker option, but at the same time, maybe he'll be more responsible for grabbing goals and stuff. So yeah, it might benefit him. You never know. I can't decide whether to do a -4 for Strand Larsen to João Pedro. I probably wouldn't take a hit to do it, but if it was for free, I would have done it. So it probably tells you that it's very close. I just think if Strand Larsen grabs a return, which is highly feasible, João Pedro's probably got to get 2 returns just to pay the hit back. So if you think, right, I'll put it this way. If you think Strand Larsen blanks, I would do it. If you think there's a good chance Strand Larsen returns, I probably wouldn't. The thing is, it's just probably a move you want to make anyway, though, right? João Pedro is just a better asset than Strand Larsen, so it's up to you. Upgraded Rodgers for a -4, 3.9 million in the bank, or play him. 3.9 million in the bank. No, that doesn't get you to Saka, does it? I think the only player I would take a -4 to sell Rodgers for right now is probably Saka. Although I don't mind the idea of Rodgers to Matoma for a -4 hit. I would probably just keep and play Rodgers. There's a good chance Rodgers still returns. Joseph says, with that being said, okay, right, this is the team. Verbruggen, Aina, 8 Nuri, Kanate, Rodgers off the bench. Salah, Saka, Palmer, Mbermo, João Pedro, Wissa, Cunha this week for me. Thoughts? Well, you won't get Rodgers off the bench because you need 3 defenders, don't you? So it depends who your other defender is to come off the bench for Kanate. In terms of your team, I mean, that looks incredible. Front 3 of João Pedro, Wissa, Cunha. Perfect midfield 4. I mean, that team is that team looks like a free hit other than... I mean, even your defence for Bruggen, Aina. That is a perfect team. If you've not yet seen, though, Joseph and everyone, the latest news is that Kanate is probably out for at least 4, if not to 5 to 6 weeks. So, if you've got Kanate, he's probably a sell. I don't know if we've had full confirmation on it, but as I was jumping on the stream, I saw quite a few accounts reporting that Kanate is probably out for 5 to 6 weeks. I'll have a look in a second for official confirmation, but that probably makes Kanate a sell. So maybe if you've got a free transfer this week, you just get it done now, because then at least you've got a better defender to come on. Andy something says, would you... By the way, his name is literally Andy something. Would you start Luca Dean or Vandenberg? Oh, that's actually a tough one. I'd start Vandenberg. I think. I expect Chelsea to score. Luca Dean is attacking, but I think Vandenberg's got a greater chance for a clean sheet. I'd probably start Vandenberg. I'm going to run a captaincy poll in a second, by the way, chat, so we'll work that out in a bit. I'm just going to get through some of these super chats, but yeah, captaincy poll will be coming. Nicola says, Havertz headache. Havertz to João Pedro or Garnacho to Matoma? Oh, that's a tough one. I just think João Pedro's elite. I'd be tempted by Havertz to João Pedro. That being said, Havertz with Ødegaard back in the team, I think he'll get pretty good minutes, and I think he'll get more attacking returns. So I also don't mind the idea of holding Havertz, but I'd be very tempted by Havertz to João Pedro to free up some funds. Khan says, I've made my 3 free transfers to get João Pedro, Cunha, and Gabriel. Should I take a -4 for Dibbling to Saka? Everyone in my mini league has him, and I'd rather have a differential. What would you suggest for short and long term? Well, I mean, focus on yourself. If the most important thing to you is your mini league, and if the most important thing for you is being different to those around you, don't buy Saka. Just buy someone else. Like I said, Matoma for a cheap price is really nice. But if you're telling me you've got the funds to just go Dibbling to Saka for a hit, I would just do that. Like 10 times out of 10, I would be doing that. So I would do it, but I'm not playing in your mini league. And for me, the most important thing isn't being different, it's getting the most points. So I would buy Saka, yes, but I would also focus on what your overall goals are. Fuel Your Grind says, thank you for your help. Rank 14k, but a red arrow for Game Week 12. Everyone is ranked so well. I'm going to take... Do you know what? I'm actually going to take full credit. Anyone that is watching right now that is ranked inside the top 100k. It's all down to me. Thank you very much for shouting. No, but really, that's an insane rank. Well done. Mbermo to Saka for a -4 or wait till next week. Yeah, I would definitely wait till next week. You can't remove Mbermo for a -4 before Leicester at home. I understand that Mbermo's taken one shot in 3 weeks, which isn't great, but I just don't think you can sell him before this fixture. Scott says, I have Onana, Konate, Gabriel, Aït-Nouri, Bruno, Saka, Parma-Salah, Cunha, João Pedro, Wood. Beautiful team. 1 million in the bank and 1 free transfer. Any advice? Konate's the only issue. Looks like he's out, like I said, for 5 to 6 weeks, Scott. So my advice would be, unless you've got a decent defender on the bench, in which case I'd maybe roll and get a bit more info, something like Konate to a cheap defender like Van Hecker or Lewis Hall, or you have a spare Arsenal slot. Yeah, you could go Konate to Timber. I'd be very, very tempted by. So yeah, depending upon the defender on your bench, Scott, I'd be doing something like Konate to Timber. Joseph, another super chat, what a legend, says also planning Wissa to Jackson and either Aina to Timber or Konate to Gabriel with my funds in the bank for game week 14, depending on how bad Konate's injury is. But it would be for a -4. Is it worth it or nah? Well, I mean, you've probably got to get rid of him in the long term. So yeah, I would probably do that. Wissa to Jackson does feel very nice if we expect Jackson to start midweek. So I would probably, I don't mind the idea of holding Aina, especially as Konate. So I would probably do the Wissa to Jackson and Konate to Gabriel moves. I think they're really good overall. And I think it probably isn't worth a -4 hit, Joseph. Yeah, I would probably, what I tend to do is just focus on the issues in your team. So as much as I like Timber, I would say, do you know what, Konate's injured. It looks like anyway. We'll find out, hopefully confirmation soon. And then I would just focus on that issue in your team. It makes more sense to transfer out the injured player, I think. Nemanja says, Konate and Anderson injured. What to do? 2 free transfers. I'd focus on the more expensive player out first. So I'd get rid of Konate. And then I guess if you need to get rid of Anderson as well, do that. I would be looking at the cheaper. So at cheaper price, I think Van Hecker, Colwill, or... Van Hecker, Colwill, Lewis Hall are probably still my top 3 favourites. I actually don't mind Gusto as well. And then if you've got the money... I think Timber and Gabriel would be top of my priority list at the moment. I'd bring in an Arsenal defender. Even if you've already got one, I'd go for 2. Shazam with a big boy super chat. Just what a legend. Glad you're feeling better. Just wanted to say hi and thank you for the content and also taking your time to answer my instas. Top bloke, mate. You're the top bloke. Of course I will take my time. You've been very supportive for... What has it been? Well over a year, hasn't it? You'll have to let me know since you started watching my content and since we've been talking. But yeah, I just appreciate your support. So anytime, mate. Thank you very much for all of the support. It doesn't go unnoticed. You are a top man. Craig says, hi Ross, Van Hecker for Konate, or have you got better? I think Timber would be my first choice. But if you want to free up some funds or you can't get from Konate to Timber, I don't know how much. If you bought Konate at a cheaper price, you might need money in the bank. But yeah, I would say, has the camera's gone already? That's a nice start. Yeah, I would honestly say Timber would be my first choice. Then maybe Van Hecker, Colwill, Gusto, Lewis Hall, something like that. George says, would you start Rodgers or Johnson? I'm put off with the recent bench of Johnson last week. I would start Brennan Johnson because my prediction is that it will be, I reckon, because Fulham are a team they probably expect to dominate the ball with, I've got a sneaky suspicion he might try and play Maddison and Kulusevski through the centre with Johnson on the right. So I've got a feeling Brennan Johnson could start. But yeah, it's a risk. And obviously if Johnson doesn't start, then you might regret it. But I think given Rodgers is playing Chelsea away, I'd probably still start Johnson. Rin has become a Rap Tier 1 member. Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Welcome. Shazam says, it's been 17 months with Egg United. Yeah, I know it was over a year. That's crazy. What a legend you are, man. So supportive. I wish there were more people like you in this world, but thank you very much. Right, I want to do this captaincy poll. So, I want you to stop asking me questions. All I want to see in the chat is who are you captaining for Game Week 13? Because I can only do 3 options and then other. So I think it's going to be Salah. Shazam says blushing. I think it's going to be Salah, Palmer, and then I'm going to only have one other option. So it's probably Cunha, João Pedro, or Mbermo, right? So I need to see who is the third. Yeah, here we go. Right. Just spam in the chat who you're captaining. Saka is very popular. Wow. João Pedro. Oh, it's so close. Not many Mbermos. So I'm going to rule out Mbermo. So that final option is going to be João Pedro or Saka, I think. Ooh. I don't know, but there's the third option. I think it's João Pedro. No, there's loads of Sakas coming in now. I'm going to go João Pedro, you know. Yes, actually, that's a good idea. Right. Okay, we're going to do a poll if you're... Okay, I like this. If you were not captaining Salah or Palmer, who would you go for? I like that. We'll run a poll to get the other two options. Who would you go for? Okay, João Pedro, Southampton. That's a good idea. We're going to run a poll to get the options for the actual poll. This is a bit confusing at this stage. Right, we're going to run a poll to get the options for the actual poll. It's like a pre-poll poll. Right, João Pedro, Saka, Mbeumo. Who's another option? Cunha? It's probably Cunha, isn't it? Eric Cunha's very popular this week. Chris Wood. Yeah, I just don't think enough people own Chris Wood right now. He's not as highly owned. I still think he's great, by the way.
Haaland's still an option, you know.
No one's... Like, I've not seen a single Haaland in the chat.
That's so sad.
Oh, one person. Joshua's... Honestly, yeah, Haaland isn't a bad option with Konate out. Honestly.
Like, we forget he's a thing.
Yeah, Haaland could outscore all of them, but... Okay. Right. Sadly, so if you were not captaining Salah or Palmer, who would you go for? I've just put a poll in the chat. This is to get the options for the actual poll. I can't believe we're not even considering Haaland, a lot of us, but yeah. You can just run one big poll. You can't you can only have 4 options on YouTube, sadly. Unless I've missed something, that's changed. But yeah, you can only add 4 options on YouTube, so. Okay, right, I'll leave that poll up for like 5 minutes, and then once we've got answers to that poll, then after that we'll get the eventual poll. Yeah, if YouTube could add more, get the wheel out. Yeah, my computer won't cope with that, sadly, as much as I'd love it. Joseph said, thank you for replying to my tweet this morning, Pickle.
Yeah, I was about to reply to that, but you're okay. I try to reply to people, but sometimes when I'm busy with uni and stuff, I don't go on Twitter as much. But if I do, I try to.
It's really weird, because I don't remember ordering a Yappuccino, but...
Excuse me? You're meant to say that in front of
Whenever Pickle starts talking for longer than like 10 seconds, I'm like, it's really weird because I don't remember ordering a Yappuccino, but here she is yapping away. I love her, really. I love it when she yaps. Pickle, yeah, Pickle is there. Pickle sat on the sofa doing some medical work.
Yeah, boring, but yeah.
Would you buy João Pedro for Calvert-Lewin? I would take a minus 56 hit to buy João Pedro for Calvert-Lewin. Yeah. You could do a straw poll for more options. I could, but then I have to send a link in the chat. It gets a bit messy. We'll just keep it on YouTube.
What was that mansplaining about?
I don't know. Any Gabriel news? No, we're obviously not going to get Gabriel news. Honestly, I would just keep and start Gabriel. I'd be happy buying Gabriel. I see no real indication that Gabriel is genuinely injured. VVD or Gabriel? Still Gabriel. I think with Konate out, it does make the defense a little bit weaker. What's Pickle's team for this game week? I think she's just going to do Raul Jimenez to João Pedro. So her team from last week with that move. Ham says, hi Ross, hope you're good now. I'm definitely feeling a lot better, thank you. This time last year was the meetup. I tried getting the venue booked in 2 weekends that we had last year, but it was fully booked. So what we're going to do, I think I'm going to do a meetup in January or February. So if you're interested, I'm going to do a meetup in Nottingham. We did one last year and it was so good. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it probably in January or February, but the venue was fully booked. And I just think it was such a good venue. And they gave it to us for free, which is really nice because then I don't have to either charge people or cover like a massive cost.
You're not doing it in December?
No, because it was fully booked. But the guy said in January and February it's a lot more free. So yeah, keep an eye out for my tweets and posts. I'm going to try and get an FPL meetup in Nottingham done. Or maybe we could look at Birmingham. But I think that venue was so perfect. So yeah, keep an eye out. But anyway, your question. Similar team, didn't copy you, I promise. That's fine. But I still have Raya and Wood over Isak for this game week. 3 free transfers and want to sell Lewis, Wood, and maybe Rodgers. Well, you obviously don't sell Wood this week because he's got Ipswich at home. Maybe you just do the Lewis move, and I don't think you want to sell Rodgers right now. He's got Brentford and Southampton at home the next 2. I think if you've got a similar team to me, but you've got Wood, I'd maybe just focus on Lewis for now. Honestly. Yeah, I would go Lewis. Lewis out for Timber if you can afford it, and if not, just move to a cheaper defender. Van Hecker probably suits your team quite well if it's similar to mine.
Yeah.
Pickle. Stormzy just messaged, funny because I don't remember ordering a Yappuccino is brilliant. That's my kind of joke. I'm going to steal that. You are welcome,
No.
Storms. Honestly, it's so funny because the person's like yapping away and they think it's really like they're really, and then you just being like, you know, that's really weird because I actually just don't remember ordering Appuccino.
You say it honestly at least twice a day.
It's so funny when someone's just yap. Right, let me get back to the questions. Hey, Ross, please rate this team. Flecken Gvardiol, 8 Nuri, Vandenberg, Saka, Palmer, Salah and Burmo, Isaac, Cunha, João Pedro. I will give your team... Wow, what a team. Oh, honestly, because it's similar to mine. I'm going to give your team a 9.2 out of 10. The only reason it is not a 10 is because you've got double Brentford defence. And they are absolute letdowns in Flecken and Vandenberg. But honestly, Leicester at home this week. Do you know what? I'm going to upgrade you to a 9.4, VJ. That's a really nice team. Very nice. Hi, Ross. Stewart up to João Pedro from -4 to bench Johnson. Yeah, I'd do it. Also own Raul, Solanke, Saka, Palmer, Salah and Mbeumo. Thoughts are very welcome. Thanks, bro. Keep it simple, Bill. João Pedro's elite. Stewart isn't very good in the long term. This is the best entry point for João Pedro. Get it done and enjoy this game this evening. I think I'll view it like that. Liam, good to see you, my man. Says, hi, Ross. Haaland and Dibbling to Saka and Isak -4. Yeah, again, keep it simple. Saka and Isak, massive upgrade on Haaland and Dibbling. We can sell Haaland together and be in pain together. Khan just says, thanks a ton, Ross. Appreciate it. No worries. I appreciate you. Anti-Pro HD says, Bruno to Saka for free. Yeah. Ooh. I don't know that you need to make that this week. We'll be priced out. Love you. Yeah, do you know what? If you're going to be priced out soon and Saka could rise before the next deadline... Oh, I just don't like selling Bruno before Everton at home. Although Everton haven't been bad defensively recently. I would get that done if you're going to be priced out soon, you know. I think I'd rather have Saka than Bruno. FMJ says, bench Matoma for Cunha, Isak, Palmer. Oh, that's a horrible benching headache. You can't bench Matoma against Southampton at home, but you can't bench Cunha, Isak, Palmer. -4 for Konate to Saliba. Would I take I'd try and play another defender rather than take a -4 this week and then do it for free next week. I think you have to bench... No. Would I bench Cunha? I don't want to tell people to bench Cunha again. I would bench Cunha ahead of Matoma. I would. You can't bench Matoma against Southampton at home, I don't think. And you're not benching Isak or Palmer, are you? Or do you bench Isak?
I was about to say, I would maybe bench Isak.
I think I would start Matoma, FMJ, but I'm not even going to answer that. I'm so sorry, I can't. Hi, Ross. Gvardiol to Timber for free this week. No, I would keep Gvardiol. Can we see Storm's team live and direct? Who to captain? Storm's team. We can have a look at Storm's team in a second. I don't actually know what his planned transfers are this week. He's keeping it on the down low this season. Phil with an F. Oh, sorry, and who to captain? Who to captain? I've got no idea. I honestly still don't know who I'm going to captain myself, to be honest. Phil with an F says, Semenyo or Rodgers out for Saka? I still think I would rather marginally have Semenyo than Rodgers over the busy period because Semenyo's minutes are better. Fixtures are very similar. And he's just got his yellow card out the way, so you don't have that risk of suspension with Semenyo. And he's just got a rest. So I think I'd rather have Semenyo. So I would sell Rodgers. Captain Saka? I don't mind a Captain Saka, but I think he's the only player playing away out of most of our other options we're considering. And West Ham have kept back-to-back clean sheets. I don't love Saka captain.
No, I'm not.
Still don't have Palmer, but plan Bruno to Palmer next week. Okay, yeah, I like Bruno to Palmer next week. I don't think you desperately need Palmer this week, although the models and algorithms have Palmer as the best captain, and they are often right, so you never know. FPL Mikel has been a member for 15 months. What a legend. Is it worth doing Aina and Mbeumo to a 4.1 million defender and Saka for a -4, or wait a week and risk getting priced out? I'd wait a week. If you're going to be priced out, you can just make the move on sort of Saturday or Sunday, because remember, it's a Tuesday deadline. I don't think you can, in your right mind, sell Ola Reina against Ipswich at home and then Burma against Leicester at home for a -4. It's just not the week to do it for me. So I would keep Ola Reina, I'd keep Brian and Burma, I'd make the move next week, yeah. Martin says, Bruno Fernandes an option for captaincy? No, because Everton aren't awful defensively. And if you watched the Europa League game yesterday, Bruno Fernandes played a little bit deeper in midfield, and he didn't really get that many chances to score goals or get assists. So I don't think Bruno Fernandes is an option, no, personally. Estefe, is that how you pronounce it? Estef says, sorry if I missed it. Jackson seems like the better long-term pick with fixtures, even if he misses one. Why Isak over Jackson? I really like Isak's fixtures after the Liverpool game. So Isak has Palace, Liverpool, and then goes into Brentford, Ipswich, Leicester. I actually still think that Isak is a marginally better asset than Jackson. Maybe wrongly. Like, maybe I'm disrespecting Jackson. But with the 4 yellow cards and with the risk of being benched midweek next week, I just think I marginally prefer Isak. But Jackson's great. Like, I've seen loads of people bring Jackson in this week. I love it. I don't mind it. I just slightly prefer Isak. I think if Isak had scored one of these chances last week, it's a completely different discussion around Isak. But because he didn't, people are now considering selling him and they're saying Jackson's much better. So, yeah. I just think that Isak's a really great player. Ajay says, Ajay, is that you pronounce it? Sorry if I'm butchering your name. Says, hi Ross, thanks for showing my cat's Insta on your story the other week. Luna seems to prefer FPL Mate, but Lily loves you. Then I love Lily more than Luna. Sorry, Luna, but Lily's the GOAT. It's absolutely fine. I love cats, so it was pretty cool to see that your cats were watching my content. But yeah, I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Baxi says, Isak and Mbermo to Saka and João Pedro. 4-point hit, but price... Listen, would I prefer Saka and Pedro to Isak and Mbermo? Marginally, but it's not a -4 hit worth this week. Next week, Isak's got Liverpool, Mbermo's got Aston Villa. Next week, that's not an awful transfer, but this week, it's not a move I'd want to make. Is Havertz a rotation risk? I don't think so, no. Is Garnacho to Matoma worth a -4? Not -4. If it was for free, I'd be tempted, but I wouldn't take a -4. Because if Garnacho starts again, it's still an okay fixture for him. He's getting chances. Do I think Garnacho will start? I've got no idea. Speedinho says, hi Ross, Wood to João Pedro, Foden to Saka for a -4. I wouldn't sell Wood for João Pedro this week. If you need to do the Wood to João Pedro move to fund the Foden to Saka move, it's a different story. Maybe at that point it is worth the -4. But I'd probably look to do that next week, although Foden to Saka this week is an upgrade. If the only way that you can afford Foden to Saka is Wood to João Pedro, in that case, I don't mind it. FPL Hey says, bench one of Bruno, Havertz or Cunha. Yeah, probably is Havertz marginally, just about, but I don't like the idea of benching Havertz against West Ham. It's a game I think you could do well in. What about if I add Bruno into the equation? What was your previous question, FMJ? Oh, about benching? No, I wouldn't bench Bruno. I think it's still probably Cunha or Isak there. Do we have any team news? I'm not sure at the moment. Right, in this poll, Saka and João Pedro are definitely the most popular two other captains. So, I'm now going to run the official captaincy poll. And sorry, anyone that's not captaining these four, but the options are going to be Salah, Palmer, João Pedro, Saka. Okay, Game Week 13 captaincy poll. If you're not captaining any of those four, just vote on who is your favourite of those four. Yeah, João Pedro comfortably the third most popular captain, it looks like, then after... Well, I mean, I assume that Salah and Palmer are going to be more popular, but we're going to wait and see. Palmer against Aston Villa. We've got João Pedro against Southampton. Maybe João Pedro is more popular than the other two. Wouldn't be surprised. João Pedro is the hype at the moment, but a Friday evening captain? Do I want to captain a player that might blank on the first day of the game week? I don't know. Right. Yeah, I have just double-checked, by the way. You still can't add more than 4 options on YouTube, sadly. Right. There you go. Captaincy poll is there. And Burmo should be in the mix there. You were the ones that just voted for the other two ahead of him. Bless you. João Pedro loves late-night kickoffs. Did you just make that up, or have we got any data? We all know what Gandhi said. Now, the early kickoff curse, doesn't that only apply to early kickoffs on a Saturday? Or does it also apply to Friday night games? Because a Friday isn't an early kickoff, is it? It's a late kickoff. I understand it's the first game of the game week, though. So does that rule still apply on a Friday evening? I don't know. You tell me. Captain Whistle or João Pedro? I still think João Pedro, but Whistle's a great option to have this week. Surely just Saturdays. Yeah, I would agree. Whoever loses this poll is my captaincy option. It's going to be Saka, I would imagine. Start one defender from Ola Aina, Ryan 8 Nuri, and Dallo. Bloody hell, Will. Who's your defence? I mean, I'd start Ola Aina from those options there. Playing for the best defence of the three with the best fixture of the three. Although Ipswich do score goals, I would still start Ola Aina, Will, but I think that's very difficult. Like you're looking at almost like a bench boost there, depending on your other players. Jack says bench one of Gabriel, 8 Nuri, Aina, or Mazraoui. honestly, maybe 8 Nuri, just simply because apparently Wolves might be playing a back four again, and I'd expect them to concede. And then Gabriel, you've got to start Gabriel. Mazraoui's got a good chance for clean sheet against Everton, and he's good for baseline bonus in this back three. And then Ola Reina, I think, is a great shout against Ipswich. I might be tempted to bench 8 Nuri there, Jack. Bob says, should I do Trent, Foden, and Stewart to Van Hecke, Saka, and João Pedro from -8? I need Trent out to fund João Pedro. I could just play Foden, thanks. I hate -8s, Bob, but my word, that's a huge upgrade. Yeah, I guess if you need to do Trent out to get João Pedro in for I would probably do that -8, Bob. Just about. Shawnak, with a super chat as always, says, played my wild card. Very nice. Let me read it out then. Henderson. I mean, immediately I wouldn't have Henderson. I'd rather have a Bruggen. Gabriel, Mazraoui, 8 Nuri, Imbermo, Saka, Salah, Palmer, Cunha, Havertz, João Pedro. Bench of Fabianski, Ahmad. Kirkes, Davis on the bench. Thinking of replacing Havertz and Henderson. Any suggestions? So do you play the wild card this week so you can make unlimited changes? Yeah, so if I was on wild card, I wouldn't have Havertz. I would have... I mean, I'd probably have Jackson or Isak in that spot there instead of Havertz, and I probably wouldn't have Henderson, I'd have Verbruggen. And I would arguably not have Brian Mbeumo. Great fixture this week, but you don't want him from next week. Although what you could do is have Mbeumo this week and then sell for Jared Bowen next week. Yeah, I think the only changes I would definitely make is I probably would have... I mean, you can keep Havertz. Havertz is fine as an option. Henderson would be the one. I watch Crystal Palace keep like back-to-back clean sheets now, but I just think I'd rather have Verbruggen myself. Hey, Ross, would you bench Van Dijk or Lewis Hall? I think with Konate out, I'd be tempted to bench Van Dijk now. I think City will score with no Konate. Konate's been so important to them. Dave says, glad to see you back to full health. Thank you. Sold Semenyo and Raul Jimenez for Saka and João Pedro this week. Yeah, love it. With Raya, Gabriel, Aina, 8 Nuri, Davis and Burmo, Salah Palmer, Rogers, Cunha and Wissa. Who to bench? Leaf Davis. I think out of all of those options, got to be Leaf Davis. As much as I love him and I'm starting him this week, I wouldn't be that desperate to have him. You look very fresh-faced. Thank you, Yelena. This is the look of a man that has lost 6 kilos from expelling fluids. is the nicest way I can put it. And also is feeling a little bit better now. I'm there. Only 2.5 weeks of feeling like I'm dying. -4 to Gabriel Timber or Estepinian, so can bench Lewis. I still think Gabriel would be first choice. I'd say Gabriel Timber, Estepinian in that order. PSV says, would you take a -4 for Konate? I have Gabriel and no bench cover. When you say no bench cover, if you're telling me that if Konate doesn't play, which looks very likely, no one plays for you, then yeah, you take a -4. But if your bench cover's like a decent enough option, I probably wouldn't take the hit. I would move to Timber and start him this week. A -4 for Konate to Timber does feel like a really decent transfer, yeah. As long as you genuinely mean you've got no bench cover. Bramjot says, I'm in a pickle. Hey, Konate, Robinson, Konsa, Rico, Fass. One for... I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude. That is a stinking defense, isn't it? Konate, Robinson, Konsa, Rico, Fass. One free transfer. Whom to transfer at and with whom? Overall rank is 343k. Great start to the season. Or would you hit to change Virgin? Who's Virgin? And Van Heck for Konate and Fass. Oh, Virgil, probably. I was like, who's the Virgin? Konate and Fass to Virgil. I wouldn't bring in Virgil now. The fixtures aren't there. Konate being out makes them weaker. I would do Konate and Rico Lewis to Timber and Van Hecke. I think that's a really nice set of transfers. I would probably sell... Yeah, I would sell Konate and Rico would be the two. Or would I sell Fass? Konate is definitely the priority transfer. One transfer I would make is Konate to Timber. Or, if you can afford Gabriel, if you've got the money in the bank, probably still Gabriel is better than Timber. I'm not going to lie, I've just really fancy Timber for the next few game weeks. 33k on my first season. That's sad. Thank you, Pickle, for looking after our egg. I'm not going to lie, she didn't. She left me to just feel better by myself. Hi, Ross. Only coming in now. How are you? I'm doing a lot better, thank you, mate. Good to see you here. Is it a double game week? No, the next double game week will be... Oh, I should have prepped for this. 20-something. I need to look into the double schedule. Way in the future. You've got at least 14, 15 game weeks until we're starting to look at doubles, unless there's cancellations due to like snow and we get an earlier double game week. You've got a while. Post Christmas is the next double, 2025. What's Pickle's rank? Like 200k?
266.
266k. Are you actually considering captaining João Pedro? No. But I think he is a good captaincy shout. If he played on Sunday, it would be... I know this isn't a good reason to not do it. Have I still got the captaincy graphic? Here we go. So I think the benefits for captaining João Pedro, if you look at the bookies' odds, he is the most likely to score a goal. Southampton are the worst defence in the league. He's got the second best goal threat on this list and the second best assist threat. And he is one of only 3 players that has a good positional matchup. Honestly, if all you were doing is looking at this table, João Pedro is the best captaincy option. But I think the context is his minutes won't be as good. His data is per 90, but he doesn't get 90 minutes. And that's it, really. That's probably the only 2 reasons that you would say that he's not a fantastic captain. I'm sorry. Is my camera dying again? That is twice in 47 minutes. Is this the final actual death of my camera? Izzy said, I had CD as I work in a hospital and lost 5 kilograms. Let's just say I had rice coming out of my nose. Glad you're better anyway. Pedro captain in my mind. C diff. Is that C diff?
Yeah, you thought you had C diff, and I had to explain why it probably wasn't C diff.
I need to... Where's my camera gone? There it is. Yes, we've got 2 medical people in the chat, Izzy and Pickle. Pedro captain on my mind. Honestly, like I just said, if you genuinely just look at this table, it is João Pedro and no one else. But this table doesn't say everything, you know? But I'm glad you're feeling better now. I don't know when that was, but I'm glad you're feeling better now. I am also on the mend as well. Is Quansah starting now for Canate? Will it be Gomez? I think that's the issue where we just don't know. I think probably a combination of both. Camera's dropping a stinker. I know. It really is. Right, let me go back. Captaincy is really, really tight. By the way, if I'm reading out the poll now, 47% of you are on Salah captain, 25% Palmer, 18% João Pedro, and 10% Saka. So it basically looks like around half of you are on on Salah. Then there's about a fifth to a quarter per Palmer and João Pedro, and then about a tenth of you on Saka. So, Rosh, you said you were getting a camera 6 months ago, a new camera. I said I was getting a new camera like 2.5 years ago.
Yeah,
But here we are. It's part of the stream now. It's part of the stream. Would you rather start Rodgers or 8 Nuri? Ooh. Ooh. Rodgers. Marginally Rodgers. Show us your 11. I'll show you my 11. The reason I've been on the transfers page is I've not made the transfers, and people will be like, you really keeping Haaland? And I'm like, no. And people will be like, where's João Pedro? So I just thought I'd show you my transfers page. But this is what my team looks like as of right now. I've just not made any transfers yet. But I can keep it there like that. Is Wood fit? Yeah, I think so. I think Wood is in good shape. No, really, though. I do think Wood's fine. I think he was just rested because he'd done a lot of travelling with New Zealand, you know? That's my real voice. No, behave yourself. Christmas present from FPL Pickle, new camera. Thank you. You're going to get me a new camera? I'd like the Sony A7S III. It's only like $2,500, you know? If anyone wants to buy me... No, I was actually going to say, if anyone wants to buy me a Christmas present, can you buy me that camera? I know some sort of crazy person out there probably will.
Well, there's a sale on.
Start Smith... I should probably look at the Black Friday deals and see if there is a camera going for a cheap price. Start Smith Rowe or Rodgers. Oh, that's a tough one. Spurs... Smith Rowe... Every time someone says Smith Rowe or Rodgers, I always get this wrong. I would start Smith Rowe, so probably start Rodgers. Thoughts on Bruno to Saka for a -4? Plan was to do it next week, but I weirdly felt a lot more confident captaining Saka over Salah or Palmer this week. Okay, Taylor, that changes it. If you think that Saka is the best captain, I would probably make the move. I always think a -4 is much better if you feel like you're transferring the best captain option for that week. So yeah, I would say do it. 5k, not 2.5k. It's not 5k, is it? Have I... Sony A7S III. I'm just... Don't worry, chat. I'm just shopping. How much is it? Is it really that much? No, £2,800. Yeah, 2,800. We can afford that, right? I would like that camera though. It looks absolutely beastly. I don't really need it for what I'm doing now, but I think in the future I plan on making my own non-FPL YouTube channel, and it would be very nice to have a camera that good. So maybe that's the goal. Maybe I just invest now. Start Johnson or Rogers? I'd start Johnson. Yeah, I'd start Johnson ahead of Rogers. Johnson to Palmer for a -4 hit. Yeah, I'd get that done. I'd probably get that done. 4K, isn't it? What, a 4K camera? Yeah, it's an elite camera. It's a really nice camera. Matuata, if that's your name and I've not butchered it, what a cool name. Hey, Rosso, I was thinking a move of Watkins and Fast to Pedro and Gabriel. Watkins, Fast to Pedro, Gabriel. Okay. For a -4, leaving 1.5 in the bank. If that was for free, it's just like, yeah. For a -4. I would still do it because Gabriel over Fast is a massive upgrade, and I would still probably prefer Pedro to Watkins. All I will say is after Chelsea, Watkins has Brentford at home and Southampton at home. But yeah, I would probably just about say yes to that move. Tax deductible, Ross. That is true. It is a business expense, isn't it? Well, no, it actually is. It's not even like one of those cheeky business expenses. No, that is a genuine business expense, man. Oh, did they say CD? I thought you said CD. I did say CD. What's CD?
Oh, Crohn's disease.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought you said C. diff.
No, I said CD.
Oh, yeah, that's Crohn's disease.
Oh.
Yeah, my bad.
It's all right. You failed your exam, but
No,
that's fine. Life of Raptor, yes. Yes, like Life of Tom, but Life of Raptor. If anyone doesn't watch Life of Tom, you should. Good vlogging channel. McNeil or Rogers? Honestly, watching Man United defend, I'd start McNeil. Although watching Everton attack, I'd start Rogers. Everton really can't attack. I'd still... would I? I'd probably still... I'd start McNeil, you know. I would. Man United really are struggling. Even under Amorim. Pickle, who are you captaining?
Probably Salah.
Probably Salah, she said.
I'm boring with captaincy.
Yeah. I do think this is a great opportunity to differentiate, but at the same time, I'm also not that desperate to do so.
Yeah. I don't know. I was a bit tempted by him.
From where do you get your bookies odds? Rob T FPL he's on Blue Sky now. By the way, if you're not following me on Blue Sky, do so. My handle is at fplraptor.com. But there's a guy called Rob T FPL, just makes these insanely good graphics every week. And I honestly, because I don't gamble and I don't bet, I don't really look for bookies odds outside of just to help me with FPL. But every week he tweets the full list of like bookies odds for chances of a goal. Honestly, it's really good. There's like these graphics here, which is, I mean, we can even look at this for a little bit. It's really interesting. So they're projected goals courtesy of SpreadX, and then also the percentage chance for a clean sheet. I find it really useful to just sense check what I'm thinking myself. I don't always go with it. For example, Brentford have a 32% chance of a clean sheet this week. I think their chance for a clean sheet is much lower than that personally. But that's what they say. So this would suggest starting Vandenberg ahead of Davis is probably a good idea, but I just love Leaf Davis. So, but yeah, Rob TFPL, you should follow him. I don't actually know what he's handled. Just type in, it says invalid handle, but just type in Rob T FPL on Blue Sky and you should come across his page. Or go through my followers and I'm following him. But yeah, that's where I get my bookies odds from. But it sounds like you can get them from SpreadX, according to what Rob T said. That's not the up-to-date one. Oh, my bad. I'm sure it's not too dissimilar. The thing is, odds are changing constantly. Like with Konate out, probably City have a greater chance of scoring goals and Liverpool have a smaller chance of a clean sheet, for example. He's also on X. I did see that, but he also stopped posting a little bit on X, so... But yeah. Is João Pedro starting? We might get early team news. I wouldn't count on it, though. It's not like we often get early Brighton team news, but they are the kickoff tonight. So what I'm probably going to do... When's the deadline? In just over an hour. In about 20 to 30 minutes, I'll probably make my first two transfers, which is Haaland and Dibbling to Saka and one of Isak or Jackson. And then I'll probably hold off the final move for João Pedro until about 10, 15 minutes before the deadline, just in case. AKSPOAK says, good evening, Ross. Mbeumo to Saka this game week? No, I wouldn't. I think Mbeumo is equally as good as Saka this week, if not marginally better with the fixture. But in the long term, I'd much rather have Saka than Mbermo. So the only reason I would make the move this week is if you feel like you might get priced out, then you might just want to go for it. But otherwise, I'd probably wait. Start Havertz, Bruno, or Garnacho, and why? I hope you're well. If you're only starting one, Bruno, because he's on penalties, and he's going to get 90 minutes, you'd imagine. I'd have them in Bruno, Havertz, Garnacho in that order, probably. Salah in for Semenyo for a -4 and bench Rodgers for Salah, or play Rodgers and not take the -4. So it's basically Salah and a -4 or Rodgers. I'd take the -4. I'd get Salah in. I just think you want Salah at the moment. The man is on absolute fire. Haaland and Rodgers to Saka and Isak/Cunha for a -4. Gottstrand Larson. I'd still prefer Cunha over Isak, I think, at the moment. So yeah, I would do Haaland and Rodgers to Saka and Cunha for a -4. I'd probably get that done. Again, it's a move that could backfire, but I just think it's an upgrade. Adichia says Erling and Strand and Gabriel and Rodgers, bloody hell, to Isak and Cunha and Timber and Saka, one free transfer. Oh, one free transfer. So that's a -12 to take out Haaland, Strand Larson, Gabriel and Rodgers. I don't like that. Sorry. I hate saying I don't like transfers when people suggest them, because obviously you're suggesting it because you like it. But if you had like 3 free transfers and it was a -4, I mean, I still don't love it that much, but I prefer it. I wouldn't take a -12 hit for that. Tom Rex says, hey Ross, if that's your name, by the way, what a cool name. Hey Ross, I want to sell Gvardiol, but I'm not sure who to get instead. Okay? Any suggestions? I already have Gabriel and 8 Nuri. If you truly want to sell Gvardiol, which I wouldn't, it's Timber for me, I think. And I really like that. If you're not going Timber, I'd go for like Van Hecke or Colwill and just bank the change and then use it elsewhere. But I would be very tempted by double up on the Arsenal defence and going for Timber. The only reason I wouldn't make the Timber move, if you've already got Raya, Tom, because then you're going for a triple up on the Arsenal defence and it blocks Saka. And as much as I think triple Arsenal defence can work, I wouldn't want to block Saka. So, yeah, if you don't want to go for Timber, I think Van Hecke or Colwill. I also think Gusto could offer some good value with James injured. One free transfer, Solanke to João Pedro or Bruno to Mbermo. Sorry, no, that's not what you said there. Solanke to Pedro or Bruno/Mbermo to Saka/Matoma. I think Solanke could do well this week, but I think Solanke to João Pedro is an upgrade, especially considering it frees up the funds to sell one of Bruno or Mbermo for Saka next week as well. So yeah, I'd probably do Solanke to João Pedro from those moves, but I equally think you could just make none of those moves and roll the transfer, to be honest. MN Chuckster, good to see you, says, hi Ross, switched Haaland/Smith Rowe to Pedro Salah this week. Beautiful. Currently on 4 red arrows and a ranking at 3.4 million. So if Haaland bags a hat-trick, I officially give up. I sold Haaland this week. Well, actually, I've not yet, but I'm going to. So I would imagine that Haaland will bag a hat-trick. But yeah, me and you are both hoping that Haaland stays relatively quiet. I hope you have a good weekend as well, my man. Doing the Haaland to Palmer switch, who should I sell from Rodgers or Semenyo? I think this is like basically 50-50, but if you were to push me, I would keep Semenyo and sell Rodgers. Moa. Maddison or Mbermo? To buy, to start, to captain, to sell? I think Mbermo's a better asset. I don't know if that helps you in your decision, but that's my opinion. Andre says, I have Salah, Palmer, Saka, Bruno, Mbermo, Wissa, Cunha, and Isak. Who do I bench? Thanks. That is filth. Like, that is one of the filthiest benching decisions I've ever seen. I don't think you can bench any of your 5 midfielders. And I don't think you bench Wissa against Leicester at home. I think you bench one of Cunha or Isak. I don't know if I want to make that decision for you, but I will narrow it down to Cunha and Isak. And I'll leave it there. I would probably, and I said this last week and it went horrifically, I would bench Cunha. But I said that last week to a couple of people, in fact more, and he got a 16-pointer, so maybe don't trust me there. Tiggy Taylor, good to see you. So start 2, Wissa, Larson, Rao, or transfer 1 now for João Pedro. I have 3 free transfers. My plan was Wissa, Pedro, game week 13. I would sell Raul Jimenez for João Pedro and bench Larson. Does that make sense? So I would sell Raul for João Pedro, start Wissa and João Pedro, and bench Strand Larson. That would be what I would do with your team. I would rather keep Strand Larson than Raul Jimenez just based on the fixtures. I think Raul Jimenez is a better asset than Strand Larson, but I think fixtures based, I'd just rather have Strand Larson in the team at the moment. Which Brighton defender is most nailed, even if Dunk is fit? Van Hecke is absolutely the most nailed Brighton defender. That's why I would go for him, because he doesn't carry much attacking threat, but he has that That level of just nailedness. There are a few Brighton fans suggesting that Igor could continue at left centre-back even if Dunk's fit. I personally think, given that Dunk's the skipper and how consistent he's been for Brighton over the years, I think Dunk starts ahead of Igor. But Van Hecker at right centre-back is the most nailed on one because Dunk will play at left centre-back. And you've got that competition with Igor. I feel like I've answered loads of questions already in the last hour. It's good. I tell you what, I still prefer Saturday morning streams, but I can tell in my own brain that I'm significantly more switched on in the evening. It's because I'm like a night owl, but I'm more switched on now than I am normally on a Saturday morning. Canate, yeah, let me just double check. I mean, we've seen it from quite a few journalists that Canate is out, but I've not seen it. I don't think the club have announced it, have they?
FPL tweeted about it, so I've seen it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Maybe it has been announced then by the club. Oh, Canate posted on Instagram. Yeah, okay. So it sounds like, from the time frame that I've seen, at least 4 weeks, but a lot of people are suggesting 5 or 6 weeks. Yeah. Yeah, you got to sell Canate then. Okay, so that makes it a little bit easier knowing for sure. Yeah, 5 to 6 weeks it looks like. Cool. Okay, so best Canate replacement is still, if you've got the money, Timber or Gabriel. First protocol would be an Arsenal defender. After that, I'd be looking at Van Hecker, Colwill, or Lewis Hall. Still those three at that cheaper price. Oh, Ross, I thought you made your 3 transfers already. No, I'm going to make them soon, though. I have Rodgers, Salah, Saka, Palmer, and Burmo with Isak and Cunha. Who should I start at the back? Dunk, Robinson, Nuri, Gabriel, and Lewis Hall. So Gabriel, definitely. I wouldn't start Robinson because of the fixture. Dunk, there's such a risk that he might come on for a cameo, but he could start. I would probably... Oh, that's really tough. Oh, that's really tough. I'd probably start Nuri and Lewis Hall and not risk a Dunk cameo. But if Dunk starts, then he's probably the best bet. I think the only one that I definitely wouldn't start is Robinson, just because it Spurs away. So yeah, I would probably start Gabriel, Nuri, and Lewis Hall if it was my team. Would you captain Wisser? I have Salah and Palmer, thanks. The thing that puts me off Wisser is his minutes aren't perfect. And he's not on penalties. So I just think there are 2 reasons that I probably wouldn't captain Wisser there. John says, Haaland to Cunha, Semenyo to Saka for a -4. My bench is Mikalenko, DCL, and Greaves. Do I start one of them in Semenyo's place and do the transfer next week or take the -4 for this week? That's not a great bench, really, is it? No, I would honestly just do Haaland to Cunha and Semenyo to Saka this week. HJ Dugan says, took Palmer out for Saka and captaining him. Best of luck. I don't know if I'd have done it, but best of luck. I do not know everything, as has been evident throughout the season. How long is Ben White out for, aka Timber starts? I think the suggestion was at least a month, which is like 5 game weeks, isn't it? So you've got a little bit of time. And there's no suggestion that even when Ben White comes back in, he'll get in ahead of Timber. And then, could Timber even play at left back ahead of Calafiori? Yes. So, why is nobody talking about Son? Why? Spurs are super inconsistent, and Son's minutes have not been particularly good. And he just played 76 minutes in Europe. And he's been getting like really early subs in the Prem as well. Listen, Heung-min Son's great. He really is. But I just think, I don't even think, objectively, Salah, Palmer, and Saka are better premiums to own. So unless you're going for a 4 premium structure, I just think I'd rather own Salah, Saka, and Palmer. I think that's why. Hi, Ross. Hope you're well. Who to buy, Cunha or João Pedro? I've covered that in so much detail this week, so I won't give too much justification, but João Pedro for me is the better asset to own. Linus says, start Konsa, Greaves, or Lewis. Have Palmer and Jackson. Oh, that's a rough decision, isn't it? I would start Greaves. Bullet head as possible. Honestly, probably a slightly better chance for a clean sheet than the other 2. Yeah, probably Greaves. Tiggy Taylor says, me again, of course. Says, start 3. Luca Dean, Pinnock, Hall, Ryan Nuri, Gvardiol. I would start... Oh, that's really tough. Would I bench Gvardiol? Playing against Liverpool, but comfortably your best defender there. I would probably start Lewis Hall, Ryan Nuri, and Gvardiol and bench Digne and Pinnock. I don't like benching Pinnock against Leicester at home, though. especially as they're not great from set pieces. In fact, I wouldn't bench Pinnock. I'd bench 8 Nuri. I would start Pinnock, Hall, and Gvardiol. That is such a difficult decision. Yeah, I think I would start Gvardiol. He was so good against Spurs. He honestly should have had at least an assist and potentially even a goal as well. Why are you starting Davis over Vandenberg? Vandenberg's ceiling, unless he gets a return, which he could, is probably 6 points, whereas Davis's ceiling is always higher. We saw in that game he got a 10-pointer when he scored. Like he's just got that ability to go a bit more massive, I think. And I also just like Leaf Davis, and there is an element of just have fun with FPL, and I just love having Leaf Davis in my team. I'm not gonna lie, it's just a bit of fun for me. Would you start Trent over Lewis Hall this week? No, I wouldn't. Sam says, keep up the great content, mate. Thank you very much, Sam. I appreciate you very much. Hope you have a fantastic FPL weekend. Start Johnson or Rodgers? I'd start Brennan Johnson. Saka to Mbeumo next week, or Rodgers to Saka now? I assume you mean Mbeumo to Saka next week. I'd just do Rodgers to Saka now, I think. Yeah, I'd probably do Rodgers to Saka now. Raptor for life. Thanks, Lee. Appreciate it. When are you doing your changes? I'll do my changes in probably the next 10 to 15 minutes. I'll do my first couple, and then I'll leave that final row to João Pedro transfer, and I'll make that a little bit closer. Hi, Ross. Getting home from work. How are you? I'm good, thank you. Hope you have a safe travel home, or if you're already home, hope you have a great evening. If Haaland blanks, will you admit defeat? I'm selling Haaland this week, mate. So if Haaland blanks, then I'll be buzzing. I've already admitted defeat. I've got Haaland horribly wrong. I think people think that I try and like make up excuses. I've just got it wrong. I have. I do think it's very outcome bias related though, because like, if you look at it, he's had the same XG in the first 5 game weeks as he has in the last 5 game weeks, right? So I think there is a large element of luck. I'm happy to admit when I get lucky, but I will also obviously admit when I get unlucky. I think with Haaland this season, my luck has been disgustingly bad. Right, I just think it has been. Like, if I'd have been on the right side of the luck with Haaland, I don't even know where my rank would be. Well, it would be where FPL Harry is. Hey, digs were taken. Shots were fired. Rossi boy is just a chill guy. Just a chill guy. I am. I still don't really understand this meme, but I am a chill guy. The most random meme to just pop up in 2024. You're the GOAT of FPL content. Thank you for it. I appreciate it. Well, everyone's spreading the love. I appreciate it. I test over stats with Haaland. I disagree. But I'm not going to get into that. Eye test suggests that Haaland is twatting shots at the goal several times per week, and he's just hitting the crossbar, great saves. It's just a bit of bad luck, I think, and variance. That's all it is. Why wasn't Mbeumo on your captaincy poll? Have I missed something? Yes, you have missed something. So we ran a pre-captaincy poll to see who people's favourite options were outside of Salah and Palmer, and Mbeumo was the 3rd favourite option after João Pedro and Saka. So that's why Mbeumo's not there, is because you guys already voted for Saka and João Pedro as your favourite options outside of Palmer and Salah. So that's why. But yeah, I think Mbeumo's a great captaincy option. I probably prefer Mbeumo to Saka this week for captaincy. Start Colwell or Mikalenko? Oh, that's a good question. I'd start Colwell. Bench Watkins versus Chelsea or Johnson versus Fulham? I'd start Watkins. Praz is the GOAT. Yeah. Praz is also, coupled with FPL Harriers, just seems to get some lucky points from time to time. That's all I'll say. There are certain managers, Kokov, Ben Krellin, Praz and Harry, that just tend to be on the positive side for variance. I'm just salty because I'm not very good at FPL, but there are just some managers, you know, when you just watch their decisions and you're like, yeah, I mean, they make good decisions, but how are you getting so many points from that? Why don't you like Saka captain? I don't dislike Saka captain at all. I just think that when he's playing away against a team that are off the back of back-to-back clean sheets, I just think there are marginally better captains. I also just think that in general, Saka's ceiling isn't that high. I was actually saying, I can't remember. He's probably done it this season. One sec. I don't want to sound like an absolute mug here. One sec. I need to make it. One sec. I just need to check something. Okay, I'm not a mug. When was the last time Saka got a brace in the Premier League? He doesn't very often. And I mean, against Southampton, a goal and 2 assists, 16 points, 13 points, 12. He has a double-digit return in his locker. Saka just doesn't usually go out there and get you a monster score. He does have in his locker. We've seen 3 times this season. You'd be very happy getting a 13-point captain. But, like Palmer this season, 25-17. Already 2 scores higher. If we look at Salah as well, 17, 14, 14. A couple more. So 3 already higher again than Saka. I need more from Saka in terms of goes out there and absolutely goes nuclear. And if he starts to do that, then he comes into my equation for captaincy. What I will say is a massive benefit for Saka captaincy is he's a super consistent asset, isn't he? Like, you know you're probably going to get a return from Saka most games, which is really nice. Whereas with Palmer, could Palmer blank for the next 4 games in a row and then get a 30-pointer? Yeah, he can do that. But then I almost prefer that for captaincy. I prefer the idea with Palmer that he can go absolutely nuclear. Is Trent back? Yes, Slot said Trent should be able to feature in this game. Whether he will start or not, I don't know. I have Foden and Burmo, Salah, Palmer, Rogers, Cunha, DCL, Isak, and 1 free transfer. Do I do DCL to João Pedro or a -4 and get Saka for Foden too? I'd take a -4 and do DCL to Pedro and Saka for Foden. Yeah, I'd take that -4. You're losing Foden and Calvert-Lewin and getting João Pedro and Saka. That's worth the hit, isn't it? Worth the hit. Let's see João Pedro's record. Well, João Pedro's not played enough minutes, but I do get your point that João Pedro's not gone massively nuclear, but he's got a goal and an assist in 63 minutes and then in 22 minutes in his last 2 games. So that would suggest to me that if he was on the pitch for a bit longer, he probably does have it in his locker to go absolutely massive. But again, I'm not captaining João Pedro. I just think Salah and Palmer have that extra level in terms of goal threat that you just don't get from Saka at the moment. By the way, I'm going to bring in Saka this week. I love him. I think he's an excellent asset. I think Arsenal fans are very sensitive about it. They think I'm like really criticising Saka. I'm talking purely from an FPL perspective. This season, Saka is comfortably he would be in my team of the season. I think he's been exceptionally good in an Arsenal team that has struggled. Saka has been, I always get their names. Saka has been remarkably good, but he just doesn't have that same goal threat that the other players have, I don't think. Is João Pedro a better asset than Wood? Yes, for me. Do you think Matoma will ever be rested? I think it's unlikely that he'll be benched, but I do think over the busy period, he might miss 1 game. It's not going to be more than 1 game, though. I'd be very surprised if it is. I can't sit here and say that any player in the game, even Salah, even Saka, will never be rested. You just never know. The thing is, I don't know if you know this, but physiotherapists and sports scientists use a traffic light system. So they have like red, yellow, green. That's how they decide if a player's fit or not. And then the managers get told, this player is red, you can't play them. So you never know what fatigue a player is feeling. So as much as we say Saka will always play, if the physios and sports scientists tell Arteta Saka is fatigued, he won't play, right? They don't go against that advice. So we just never know behind the scenes. So yeah, I can sit here and say Matoma's going to play every game, but if behind the scenes he's feeling quite fatigued, then he won't. I think where Matoma is most at risk is normally post-international breaks. Obviously, he plays for Japan, so there's a lot of travel. The only game that he's been starting on the bench this season was post-international break. So, sorry, I did that one. I got Ahmad and Virgil van Dijk, and I have 6 million. What can I do? So you've got Ahmad and Virgil and 6 million in the bank. Ahmad to Saka. Can you afford that? Wait, no, you can't. Yeah, Ahmad to Saka. Virgil to an Arsenal defender. I'd probably just keep Virgil, to be honest. I'd do Ahmad to Saka if I've understood you correctly. I don't know if I have understood you correctly, but if I have, that's what I did. Who are you captaining, Ross? I think I'm just going to go for Salah. I think when in doubt, like, there are doubts for me around Cunha. There are doubts for me around João Pedro for different reasons. And Burmo's taken 1 shot in 3 weeks. Saka, like I said, I'm just never fully convinced to give the armband. So it's basically Salah or Palmer for me, and I'm still going back and forth. Hold up, if Konate is injured, is that the return of Quansah? I think Gomez could maybe be preferred in a lot of games. I think it'll be a rotation between Gomez and Quansah, so I don't think we'll be able to go for the other Liverpool defender, sadly. Listen, if Quansah starts the next 2 or 3 in the Prem, then yeah. Whilst we're on Ahmad, do you think he starts this weekend? I think Ahmad did enough against Ipswich to deserve a start. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think he probably does. But Amorim is constantly experimenting at the moment. We don't know, again, what is going on behind the scenes. So I don't know that I can sit here confidently and say that Ahmad is going to start. Haaland, DCL, and Neto to Cunha, João Pedro, and Saka for a -8. Yeah, I'd probably make that move. I don't like a -8 hit, but there's such... You're getting Cunha, João Pedro, and Saka. And one of your players you're removing is DCL. The other one's a rotation risk Neto. And Haaland is just so expensive. I'd probably get the moves done. Yeah. Addy says, I have 3 problems. Lewis, Mikalenko, and Son. 1 free transfer and 1 million in the bank. Should I prioritise Saka first or the defenders? I don't know that Son is a massive issue right now. Fulham at home. Yeah, I would prioritise probably Lewis and Mikalenko. And honestly, I'd probably prioritise Mikalenko out just because of the fixtures. Whereas I think you can play... Sorry, I know my camera's lagging out a little bit. It's my computer rather than my internet. I think Lewis, you could play maybe midweek against Nottingham Forest, depending upon if we think he starts or not. Play McNeil, Rodgers, or Greaves. Definitely not Greaves. I would play... I think marginally I would lean, but that's incredibly close. Best replacement for Konate, unlimited budget. Oh, I'm just going to turn my camera off for a second. It's struggling a little bit. I would... Best replacement for Konate. I would say Gabriel. If you've got Gabriel, I'd go Timber. I was just really targeting on that Arsenal defence. I think they're about to go on a nice run. Over the last 6, they're the best defence in the league. Yeah, I'd be tempted. Just go for Arsenal, I think. Chat, shall I make... I could make a couple of my transfers now. I don't think there's anything that's going to stop me making them. And I think I am going to go Isak over Jackson. But I might regret doing that. But I just really like him. Best Rico Lewis replacement. Again, if you can get to an Arsenal defender there. Otherwise, I think it's Colwell, Van Hecker, or Lewis Hall, probably. Right, we might be back. Nope. As soon as I did that, no, we're not back. Okay. I don't know if it's my internet or my computer. Yeah, I'm going to turn off my camera for a second. Computer. Chat, let me know if my audio cuts out. As long as my audio is fine, then we're good. You don't need to see my face bobbing up and down. But if my audio cuts out, then please just let me know in the chat, because that would not be good. You need to hear what I'm saying. I think I want to make a couple of my transfers now. It would just make me very happy to get rid of Haaland and Dibbling. So I think I'm going to bring in Isak. Again, I may well regret not going for Jackson. I'm fully aware that he's in a nice run of form. I just really like Isak. I always have. And I think it's also important to own players you like. Like, I owned Isak on my GameWeek 31 wildcard last year before anyone had him. Like, Pickle and I had bought him in when he was like 4% owned. And he got us like 5 goals in 3 weeks or something like that. He's just a player that I really like. And I'm very excited to own him. So, yeah, I think I'm going to make those transfers. Let me just double check that is what I want to do. Dibbling and Haaland to Saka and Isak. Anything that would stop me from doing it. Reminder that Arsenal play in London area for the rest of the year, both in home and away. Yeah, I saw that. Arsenal don't have to leave London until 2025. It's crazy, because all of their away games are in London, and all of their home games are obviously at home in London. So, yeah, that is pretty insane. Why is my computer doing this to me? I don't think it's you. I think it's my computer. I'm back, but it will just be really laggy. Let me know if you prefer laggy me or no camera. I can do either. Right. Dibbling and Haaland. I always worry that I've got my transfers wrong. Dibbling and Haaland to Saka and Isak. Confirmed transfers. Bye, Haaland. It's been nice knowing you. You will not be missed. Get in the bin. Right. Let me sort out my bench then, after making those moves. So all I have to do now is Rao to João Pedro. I'm just going to wait a little bit, because you just never know. We might get some early, like, imagine we got team news that João Pedro doesn't start. I don't think we ever would, because I think João Pedro would start. But let's say we did, I might regret making the move early for no good reason. So we'll leave it there for now. So 2 of my 3 transfers have been made. Prefer egg picture with the eyes and the smiley face. Your audio was cutting out moments ago. Oh, God, don't tell me that. Okay, we'll keep an eye on it. Hi, Ross. Hope you're feeling better. I need to bench one of Salah, Saka, Palmer, Bruno, and Burmo, Wissa, Cunha, and João Pedro. Leading towards Bruno. Any thoughts? I mean, if that was my team, I'd bench Cunha. Maybe after Cunha, maybe it is Bruno, just because Everton aren't bad defensively and Bruno could play a deeper role. I'm going to turn off my camera. It's really struggling. Sorry, chat. Thank you. Now, Haaland. Yeah, honestly, I'd probably captain Haaland now that I've sold him. Haaland's finally going to be released from the jail that he's been in after me buying him. Why is no one mentioning Veltman instead of Van Hecker? Because Lamptey could be back soon, and he can play right back. Solly March, when he's back, can play left back or right back. And Kadioglu's not out for that long. So unless you're telling me you're only going to own this asset for a few weeks, once Kadioglu's back, it could be Kadioglu and Estepinian. So I just don't think the long-term minutes are going to be strong enough for Veltman. Also, Veltman doesn't carry much attacking threat. So why would you go for Veltman when he's at a slight risk? Who is Pickle going to captain? She is on Salah.
Yeah. Boring me. Let me know if it got better. I said a lot.
Thank you. I just sold Haaland. No, why? Yeah, I wouldn't sell Haaland now that I've sold him. Lewis to Trent or Gabriel? Gabriel, probably. Start Verbruggen or sells? Oh, wow, that's tough. I would start Verbruggen because I think Ipswich are a slightly stronger attack than Southampton. Wissa to Isak or hold? I would hold. Yeah, I actually think Wissa's slightly better than Isak this week. Not putting Haaland in the captaincy poll is a disgrace. A disgrace. Sorry. Listen, there's only 4 options. Uncertain how to get Saka for Mbermo next week and get double Arsenal defence now. Sorry. Uncertain how to get Saka for Mbermo next week and get double Arsenal defence now. Or for Rodgers this week and lock myself out of double defence. I would get Saka for Mbermo next week and get double Arsenal defence now. I think overall, that puts you in the best structure long term and you're still gaining double Arsenal defence this week. So yeah, I would do it next week for Mbermo. And also that means that you then have an exit route for Mbermo as well when he goes into the tricky fixtures. Missed my super chat. Sorry, let me look at that right now. Been a bit distracted with the stream having a bit of a fit. I can't see your super chat. I'm looking. How long ago was it? I'm sorry, there isn't one there with your name, I don't think. I see one that I have missed, though. AKU says, hey, Rossi, I have Konate, Gabriel, 8 Nuri, Luca Dean, and Greaves. Is it worth it to sell Konate for a -4? I'm torn between Timber and Dunk. I don't think you need to this week, but considering you've got Greaves, Dean, I probably would, yeah, and I would go Timber. I wouldn't bring in Dunk at the moment. We don't even know that he's definitely going to be first choice. Yeah, I would probably go Timber. And also you can sing Timber. If he scores. I was going to sing, but I don't think people want to hear that.
I was trying to sing it.
Okay. Right, don't want to jinx it, but the computer's calmed down a bit. So
I think it was the laptop.
I'm going to... No, I don't think it was. I think I think the camera just stresses it out. So I'm going to now bring myself back. As I did that, it started having an absolute fit. We'll try. Sell Konate. Yeah, I'd get Konate gone unless you've got decent bench cover. If you've got decent bench cover, there's obviously no rush to sell him. Like, don't feel like you've got to sell Konate. Like, if you've got like a Vandenberg on the bench, you just do that. Johnson / Haaland to Salah / Jackson for a -4. Yeah, I'd be very tempted to do that. What is happening in the chat? I just saw someone say chicken-sized horse for sure. Like, what have I missed? How long till the deadline? You have got 39 minutes until the deadline. 39 minutes until the deadline. What's your PC specs? Terrible. It's a Mac Mini. I want to buy a gaming PC, but I also noticed that gaming PCs are very loud. So I don't want background noise is the only thing. Because it's going to be near my microphone. I'd need to... Honestly, once I go full-time YouTube, I genuinely am going to really invest in my setup and try and work out a better camera, mic, computer, everything. But right now, I'm still part-time YouTube, so that's my excuse. Ruben says, massively behind in rank, so want to go against Salah and gamble. Would you have João Pedro or Palmer as captain? Bit worried about Pedro's minutes. If you want to really differentiate, then João Pedro's the route. I would go for Palmer ahead of João Pedro, though. I think Palmer's going to be differential enough that you still gain quite a lot if he goes big. Like, I expect Palmer's ownership to be well below 100%. And what that means is if you captain him, you gain over 100% of Palmer's points on those around you. So yeah, I would probably captain Palmer ahead of João Pedro slightly. PCs don't have to be loud. I've never seen a Gaming PC that... Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay. I need to... Basically, then, I need to speak to someone. I think Frosty said it will help me, but I need to speak to someone that understands gaming PCs, because I will happily spend loads of money on one, but I need to know that I'm getting like a really good spec, and I don't really understand PCs. So anyway, I'm not going to keep boring you about that, but I will get a gaming PC at some point. But I don't know if that will be this season, because I need to invest in all of my setup and stuff like that. And it's expensive. We're probably looking at about 6 to 7 grand I need to spend on my setup. So it's nice. Is it worth keeping Vardiol? Yeah, I think so. It's worth keeping Vardiol. Well, and unless you don't have an Arsenal defender and that's your only route, then maybe you do it. You know? So is Kanate out? Yeah, Kanate's out, confirmed by Kanate. And FPL tweeted about it as well. So is Kanate's injury bad? I think the estimation is between 4 and 6 weeks. What are you talking about? 3 grand is more than enough. The camera that I want is 2.5 grand. A good gaming PC is a couple of grand. I want to buy a short SM7B rather than my MV7, which is like £600, is it? £400, something like that. I want to buy an XLR machine for the SM7B, which is a little bit of money. It's honestly about six grand. I'm not lying. I'm not lying to you. No, I'm not saying the PC is 6 grand, you numpties. I'm saying the entire thing altogether is... Anyway, let's move on from this discussion. I'm saying all of the equipment that I want to invest in. Wissa Captain, what do you think? Yeah, I like it. I mean, I wouldn't do it for the reasons that I've said, but I don't want to put people off. I don't like captaining players that don't have good minutes, and I like captaining penalty takers. Standing desk. Yeah, I'd like a standing desk as well. That's true. Evening Raptor. Start Colwell or Vandenberg? I'd go Vandenberg. Hi, Russ. How are you, mate? I'm doing well, thanks, mate. Max, you have been a member for 38 months. That is wild. Already did Haaland and Smith Rowe out for Saka and João Pedro. Beautiful. Who to captain? Palmer, Salah, Saka, João Pedro, Wissa. Keep up the good work. A completely arbitrary order based on what I feel, but I would say Salah, Palmer, João Pedro, Saka, Wissa in that order. Why is everyone sleeping on Mbeumo captain? Mbeumo has taken 1 shot in 3 games. I think that is genuinely the only reason I can think not to captain Mbeumo, is that he's not getting into goal-scoring positions at the moment. But as we've spoken about, against Southampton and Ipswich, he scored 2 goals in each of those games at home and a 15 and 14 pointer. So Brentford at home against weaker defences, they're magnificent. So, yeah. I like it. I don't mind it. But that would be the reason. Holding off on João Pedro in. Are you expecting team news? Should I transfer in now? Liam, I'm not expecting team news. I would predict that we don't. I'd say we're 80% likely to get no team news. But I am just holding off on the off chance that we get a leak that he's not with the team. You never know, do you? You just never know. And obviously, if he doesn't start this week, then I would... Do you know what? I'd honestly be tempted to do Raul Jimenez to Welbeck if that's the case. But I'd probably just make no move and start Raul Jimenez. Probably. And then I'd be tempted to make the move next week. Or... How much do I have? I don't think I have enough for Jackson, sadly. So yeah, I'd probably either do... Oh, I could go for Wood for a 1-week punt. No, I'd probably just leave him. But yeah, anyway, I am holding off, but I don't expect us to get João Pedro news. Someone asked about Lewis Dunk news as well. We don't regularly get early team news for Brighton. Darren says, 1 free transfer and 0.4 in the bank. I have Cunha, Haaland, João Pedro, Smith Rowe, Salah, Saka, Diaz, Casemiro. Not sure what to do. Thanks, Ross. I think Casemiro stands out as the biggest issue there. But where can you... I don't even know how much Casemiro is. I've honestly never once in my life looked at Casemiro for FPL. How much is he? Casemiro. 4.8. Yeah, so you can't really move anywhere anyway. You could go to Ahmad, but I'm not sure that Ahmad's long-term minutes are that safe anyway. Right, let me see the rest of your team and then think where else you could improve. You've got Luis Diaz. I'd maybe be tempted with... I think you want Palmer. If that was my team, I would take a -4 hit, and I am saying if this was my team, I would take a -4 and I would sell Haaland and Casemiro for João Pedro and Palmer. Yeah, I would do that. Haaland and Casemiro to João Pedro and Palmer. And then... Oh, no, you've got João Pedro. Jackson and Palmer, if you can afford that. Or Isak and Palmer, if you can afford that. I would basically sell Haaland and get Casemiro to Palmer. That is my advice for your team. Hi, Ross. Would you start Rodgers or Johnson? I'd start Johnson. How is Wood captain over Salah, Palmer, João Pedro, Saka? I have no issue with Wood captain. If we go back to this slide here, according to the bookies' odds, Wood is the second most likely to score a goal after João Pedro, joint with Palmer, more than Salah, more than Son, more than Saka. So yeah, Chris Wood has a very good chance of scoring, as you would always imagine, at home against Ipswich. So yeah, I don't mind captaincy on Chris Wood at all. C2 Lawyer says Raya and Canate to Verbruggen and Timber for a -4. Raya and Canate to Verbruggen and Timber for a -4. No. I just do Canate to Timber. If you can't afford that, then I would do Canate to Van Hecke. Like, I don't think Raya and Van Hecke for free isn't any worse, really, to me than Verbruggen and Timber for a -4. If you are asking me, by the way, I would prefer Verbruggen and Timber, but I don't know if it's worth the hit for that. I'd probably just sell Canate. I think. You know. FPL Harry has Wood too. Yeah, that's good enough reason to just captain Chris Wood, isn't it? Smith Rowe or Rodgers to bench. I said I always get Smith Rowe Rodgers wrong, but I would bench Rodgers and start Smith Rowe. I see more goals for Fulham against Spurs than I do Villa against Chelsea. Palmer or Saka this week only? Palmer. I want to captain in Burn. What are you laughing at?
We have our belly go.
Are you hungry?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Get a snack if you want. I want to captain Mbermo. Captain Mbermo then. Oh my god, the captaincy this week is stressing me out. I'm the same Claudette, which is why I'm captaining Salah, I think. It's just like I can't be bothered for the mental toll. It's called decision fatigue. I don't want to make that decision this week. Honestly, it's so lazy. I can't be bothered with captaincy this week. So I'm just going to captain Salah because he's elite. Beeping outside. Is Semenyo to Saka worth a -4 hit, says Ben? I'd then be benching Rodgers or just bring in Saka for free and game week 14 for one of Mbermo, Rodgers, Semenyo. Cheers. If you can do Rodgers to Saka, I would do that. If it's I don't like selling Semenyo. I think from now on he's going to be really good now that he's got that yellow card out of the way. I would be tempted to do it for free or do Rodgers to Saka for -4 this week then. If it's Semenyo that you have to sell to be able to afford it, then I'd probably leave it. Cunha is not a good captaincy choice against Bournemouth. No, he is. He's fine. But like again, if we go back to my computer can't deal with me keep on switching screens. But according to bookies, and bookies don't know everything, I will admit that, Cunha has a 27% chance of scoring a goal. If you look at the next worst, it's Saka with 38%, and every other player on this list has over 40% chance. I know Cunha's been in exceptional form, and I know Cunha is brilliant, and I know he's got great finishing, and he can score goals from outside the box, and he's on penalties, but Bournemouth are a pretty decent defence, and Cunha has been extremely over-reliant on scoring wonder goals. He's not going to continue at that rate, so I just don't think Cunha's a captaincy shout for me right now. As much as I love the boy, and trust me, like Cunha's probably top 3 favourite players I've ever had in FPL. I love him that much. Like, for him to do what he's done for me this season, brilliant. But I just don't think a captaincy is what I want for him. Is this the final team, Rossi boy? Almost. I'm going to sell Raul Jimenez for João Pedro.
I'm a bit worried because my internet's not working on my phone.
Worst case, I can give you my phone. You can log into your FPL and you can do it on my phone. But let me know in like 15 minutes. I can hand you my phone. Yeah, I just don't want to be doing all of that, interfering with everything. Done an absolute stink. He's my transfers early and went Gabriel instead of Guardiola, and I have Canate, who is now out. That's sad. Yeah. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Like, you've still got your Arsenal defender in place. You just have to make an next transfer. At the end of the day, I think people. I know I say this as someone that's always advising you not to take hits. People do overemphasize the importance of taking one hit. Like, it's 4 points. At the end of the season, you're going to be on over 2,000 points. 4 points in the overall season. And by the way, again, I'm saying this to someone, I missed out on the top 10k 2 years ago by 0 points. If I had one more point, I would have been inside. In fact, if I'd have had the same amount of points but made less transfers, I would have finished inside the top 10k. So 4 points can make a difference, but I'm saying in the overall scheme of things, over 2,000 points in a season, if you want to take a hit, just bloody take a hit. You know what I mean? Have fun with FPL.
I mean, I accidentally took a -8 and I still finished 1 point.
Exactly. Exactly.
That was very bad.
We don't talk about that. Gvardiol to Timber, 1 free transfer and no real fires to put out. I wouldn't make that move, but if you really have nothing else to do with your team and you want an Arsenal defender, then yeah. Is Son the best differential captain with Noah Anderson? Noah Anderson is big. It really is, yeah. I still don't think so. I think his minutes aren't quite as secure, and Spurs are so unpredictable that, like, if Fulham beat them 2-0, I'd go, yeah, Spurs, innit? So I probably wouldn't captain a Spurs player, but I understand the temptation. Start Colwill, Lewis, or Greaves. I'd probably start Colwill from those 3 options. I'm tempted to just make my move. Ross, when are you coming to Uganda? Don't know. When am I coming to Uganda, Andrew? You tell me. You tell me. Is this the final team? No. I'm going to do Raul Jimenez to João Pedro in the next 27 minutes. Last week I took a -16 and I'm still went up to 260k. This is the thing. If you're bringing in good players and you get a little bit lucky as well, the hit can pay itself back in a week. Is West Ham that bad on the attack? No. It's just Arsenal are elite. If you're wondering why everyone wants Arsenal defenders, it's not for this fixture. It's just Arsenal is so good. And also, across the last 2 seasons, Arsenal have actually been pretty good away from home defensively. Just get Pedro now and relax. I think I'll get Pedro around 6:15, so in about 10 minutes. I'll leave it a little bit longer, because you never know. Make the transfer now so you don't have to stress. I'm not stressed. Don't worry. Son for Palmer for no hits worth it. Yeah, probably. I'd probably rather have Palmer than Son. John says, hey, Ross, to get Saka transferring out Bruno Fernandes, I need 1 transfer out Gvardiol or Isak. I'd rather keep Isak and sell Gvardiol. But I equally don't think you need to buy Saka for Fernandes this week. I think you can do that next week. It's up to you, though. Hi, Ross. Start Ola Aina or 8 Nuri? Ola Aina. Yeah, Ola Aina. I got 25 points last week. Very nice. Yeah, no real surprise there. Gomez or Colwill for Canate or other? I wouldn't go Gomez. I'd go Colwill. Colwill's fine. If you're looking for others, Van Hecker I think is great. Brighton defender. You could go for, I mean, Gusto as a bit of attacking threat. Is his minutes as good as Colwill? Probably not, but don't mind him. Sell Johnson for a -4 for Matoma. Probably not, no. Probably not, no. But I do really like Matoma as a shout. Even Ross, start Colwill or Vandenberg. I'd start Vandenberg. Yeah, I'd start Vandenberg. Even if you've got Flecken in goal, I'd still probably start Vandenberg. I feel like they should probably still be seen in isolation. You could diversify a little bit and spread the risk. Like, I understand if you've got Flecken already and you're like, I don't trust Brentford, maybe you start Colwill in that situation. But I think in isolation, I prefer Vandenberg. Ross, come to Darjeeling, please. Where's Darjeeling? Sorry for being ignorant. I don't actually know where Darjeeling is. Darjeeling. It's a city in India. Oh my God, that looks beautiful. In the West Bengal state. Oh my Lord. Yeah, I'd go there. Looks stunning. Darjeeling. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation. Sorry. Yeah, it looks a really lovely place. Flecken is making loads of saves this season. Yeah, I know. Flecken's been an absolute baller. Everyone has the same team apart from cheap defenders. This is getting a bit boring. It is a bit boring, Frosty, because yeah, everyone's got the same team, and I've just got the best defender in the world in Leif Davis. So it's like, my team's just better than everyone else's. You know? I've got the same attackers as everyone, and then I've got the GOAT. And unless you have the GOAT, then your team's not as good.
This was practically the whole of last season.
Yeah, I know. I do think, Frosty, in 3 or 4 weeks, it will differentiate again, because Haaland then goes on a monster run of fixtures. And you're going to be sat there thinking, I've got no Haaland for Leicester, Brentford, West Ham. He's got a run of fixtures where it's, some people will decide, no, I still like the balance without. But I think there'll be a lot of people, probably myself included, that will go, I want to captain Haaland in a couple of these weeks. I sell one of Saka, Palmer or Salah to get there. And honestly, at the moment, it might be Palmer, which is going to be a big call to make. I just think I look at the consistency of Saka and I look at Salah as a really nice captaincy option in a few of those, around 18, I might bin off Palmer. And I think at that point, it will start to differentiate again. So I do think from 13 to 17, the teams are going to look really similar. It's going to come down to things like captaincy and cheap defenders, which is rough because my cheap defenders and my goalkeeper is Sanchez and Leif Davis. So it's not great. Hey, Ross, Haaland to Cunha Jackson for a -4. Yeah, probably prefer Cunha. But Mo Saka Palmer will have great fixtures by then. This is exactly my point, right? So a lot of people won't want to sell them to bring in Haaland, but then I'll be sat there. Do you know what? I'll show you what I mean. Because I was going to show you with my team. I don't even have Haaland anymore. This is great. This is it. So from 18 onwards, tell me you don't want Haaland for Everton at home, Leicester away, West Ham at home, Brentford away, Ipswich away. So in the space of 4 weeks, he's got Leicester, Brentford and Ipswich. I mean, that's going to be filth not owning Haaland, especially if De Bruyne is fit at that point. But then, again, as you're saying, from 18 onwards, Saka's got Ipswich, Brentford, Brighton, Spurs, Villa, Wolves. Then he has Leicester in 25, so you're not going to want to sell him. Palmer from 18 onwards has Fulham, Ipswich, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Wolves. And then Salah, you go, you just sell Salah then. Salah's got Leicester, West Ham, United, Forest, Brentford, Ipswich. You can't have all of them unless you are literally owning like fodder in every other position, in which case it still doesn't make sense. So you're going to have to go without one of them. Who is it? I don't know. But this is, again, where it will be nice because everyone will have a different opinion on that, you'd imagine, unless one of them's injured. And I really hope one of them isn't injured because then otherwise the template is just going to be so strong. Sell which one of Wood, Solanke, Raul for João Pedro or Roll? Definitely Raul Jimenez, Jace. You can't sell Wood this week. I think Solanke's a fine hold at the moment. And I like his price point. I'd probably sell Raul Jimenez. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting from Game Week 18, honestly. Selling Palmer in 18 with that run of games, you sure, mate? Well, who are you selling? I hate people who go like this because it's like, I've just told you that all 4 of them have good fixtures. So who are you going without? And it's very easy for you to sit there in your comfy blanket now saying, I'll go without Haaland. If Haaland bags 5 goals the next 5, and that's conservative, by the way, you could do more. You're telling me you don't want Haaland for that run? It's not going to happen. I might do Rodgers to Matoma, benching Strand Larson just to be different. See you when my rank hits the bin. I don't think doing Rodgers to Matoma to bench Strand Larson is that risky, Frosty. That in fact, that feels like a risk-free move. Because if Strand Larson goes massive, he's so lowly owned, it doesn't change. I'd be tempted, yeah. As long as that's for free. Jason says, hi, Ross, how are you? I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking, Jason. Who would you bench between Wood or Johnson? Oh, definitely Johnson. You are not benching Chris Wood this week. I wouldn't allow it. I wouldn't allow it to happen. Start Chris Wood. Canate to Timber and it saves me 0.2 million. Worth it. Absolutely. It saves you 0.2. How much is Canate now? Wait, what? I thought Canate was 5.5. I'm so grossly mistaken, clearly. 5.4. How does that save you 0.2 million when Timber's more expensive? I don't know. I'll trust you, though, that you've got some logic there. Anyway, Canate to Timber's a nice transfer. Right, in about 5 mins, I'm going to make the move to get João Pedro in and then look at my team and be very happy.
I'll make the move the same.
Yeah. Would you do Isaac to João Pedro for free? No. Start Lewis or Greaves? Greaves. Start 2 of Davis, Vandenberg, Rodgers or Hall. Ooh, Rodgers and... Honestly, Rodgers and Hall. Bench Leaf, Davis and Vandenberg. How come Isaac over Jackson? I just like him more as an asset myself. I like the penalties. I like watching Isaac. I like the fact that I know Wilson's there, but I worry about Jackson's minutes in midweek games more. And I also worry that Jackson's on 4 yellows. And it comes down to I just love Isaac. And I think you should pick players that you are excited to own in FPL. By the way, I would have been excited to own Jackson as well. I think he's an absolute baller. But Isaac's my guy. He really is. KSI has leaked that Pedro isn't starting. Since when is KSI at Brighton? If he's tweeted that, I still wouldn't trust that. Can you imagine? Or I'm assuming it's some sort of fake KSI account. But even if it's the real KSI, it's just funny, isn't it? Is Kelleher starting over Allison? I've actually got no idea on this occasion. Canate goes down tonight according to Fantasy Football Hub and Timber is going up. Oh, I see what you're saying. So making the move tonight. Yeah, then in that case, yeah, do it probably. It's a lot of money to lose on a transfer you want to make anyway. KSI wrote it in Andy's chat. Oh, well, he's just trolling, isn't he? Since when is KSI going to have early Brighton team news? Mikalenko or Robinson? I don't want to start either, really. I'd probably start Robinson. Start Chris Wood or Gabriel? Well, I mean, Gabriel's got to start over your other defenders. So look at who else you're starting in defence to start Gabriel instead. But if it is genuinely a decision there, Chris Wood. Cunha as captain, smart or no? Not for me. I wouldn't say it's not smart, by the way. I'm just saying I wouldn't do it. Just because I rate Bournemouth and I don't rate Wolves highly enough to captain Cunha. I also think Cunha, by the way, I would never say has been lucky or fortunate to score the amount of goals that he has recently. But I think he has had to perform at a wildly insane level. He's had to put every foot in the right position. Like the amount of goals that he's scored that shouldn't be going in, that beautiful touch for the first goal, that whipping effort top bins. And you could look at that and say, well, that's a reason to captain Cunha because he's playing so well. But I look at it as, am I expecting Cunha on a consistent basis to score shots from outside the box? I'm not. So Cunha for me is not a captaincy option, no. Keir Starmer leaked that Jean Pedro starts. For God's sake. And Burmo to Bowen next week. That will be extremely popular and I'll be tempted. Yeah. But I feel like I want to see more from West Ham and Bowen. I know Bowen has got returns this season, but when you look at his underlying data, it's a bit weak. I don't know. It's a move that I do think will be popular over the coming couple of game weeks. It's a midweek deadline, so I am tempted to just rock with my team and then I'll have 2 free transfers going into the weekend. Jackson versus Isak. 50-50 call. Whichever way you feel like going. I've just gone for Isak for the penalties. He's not on 4 yellows, and I worry about Jackson's minutes against Southampton. That's it. But I guess Isak's got Liverpool. I honestly might bench Isak next week. In midweek, I probably will bench him against Liverpool. Is João Pedro starting? He's my captain. I don't know. I'm probably going to just transfer him in now, because I think he will, yeah. What 4.4 defender instead of Powell? Is Lewis Hall still 4.4? It's probably not, is he? Is he? I don't actually know the answer to that. He's probably gone up to 4.5, hasn't he? Kirkes, is he still 4.4? No, Lewis Hall is, yeah, probably Lewis Hall or Kirkes. Those are both still 4.4. Right. Yeah, I'm going to make the move.
Okay.
Raul Jimenez to João Pedro.
Yeah.
Chat, speak now or forever hold your peace. Any reason I shouldn't do this for free? This is my final free transfer. Any reason why I shouldn't do João Pedro in for Raul Jimenez? Seeing a lot of Palmer captain on Blue Sky. I'll be entirely honest. There's a lot of people that just blindly copy FPL Review, and FPL Review has Palmer as the best captain. So I'll just call out everyone. No, it's not just people captain. That's not the only reason that people are doing it. But if you're seeing a lot of analytical accounts captaining Cole Palmer, it's because they just copy FPL Review. Nah, it's boring, isn't it? I just see so many people pretend that they're not copying review when they copy review. It's just boring. So, yeah. I think it's a good opportunity to captain whoever you want. Confirm. Raul Jimenez to João Pedro. Done. Oh my God, my team looks naughty now. Look at that for a team. Now I'm finally happy. The best So we captain Leif Davis, yeah? That's what we're doing. I need to screenshot my team. I'm actually finally happy with my team, which you know what that means. Chat, what does it mean if you're happy with your team? Yeah, it means you're going to stink it up. That's how it works. 3 free transfers. Not often you make 3 free transfers in a week, especially when my team didn't look that bad. But I just think, do you know, it's just so much stronger overall as well. Having now Rodgers is my 8th attacker, right? Rather than Dibbling being my 8th attacker, Rodgers is my 8th attacker. Well, there goes my captain points. Chat, you make it sound like I'm really awful at FPL, right? I've had 3 top 50k finishes in a row. I'm on a run of green arrows right now. You see, that's a green arrow. That's me. I did that, right? I'm not that bad, okay? Haaland 3 goals this game week. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Pedro red card incoming, probably. I just love João Pedro as well. Honestly, that front line, if I think back 3 players that I love, and by the way, this isn't a knee-jerk. Last season, I owned João Pedro for 8 game weeks when no one else did, and he stunk it up. Do you remember that? He was stinking it up for me every single week. Quit glazing yourself. Don't be rude. What have you sent me there, Frosty? Are you kidding me?
Huh? No, what?
João Pedro's benched.
No, please. Are you serious?
Oh my good lord.
We just did it. Are you serious?
Okay, João Pedro's benched.
Oh my god, that's so sad.
I should have waited another minute.
Oh my god, that's so annoying.
Oh well, but okay, right, chap. So that's a disaster. Do we now bench João Pedro for Rodgers?
Oh, I want to cry.
That's painful.
Why?
That's very painful.
No.
If you've not made the move yet, don't make the move. Let me show you.
Oh my god, no way. Is this for real?
Maybe KSI had the leak. Maybe KSI had the leak. Who knows? Let's talk FPL. Oh, wait. Oh, was that a fake?
Oh my god. What the fuck?
Or was he just deleted his tweet? No, that's not a fake account. He's just deleted it, hasn't he?
Whoa.
Let's Talk FPL just tweeted that João Pedro's benched and then deleted his tweet.
The hell was that?
He's either been...
What?
Oh, look at the date. Oh, Frosty, why would you do that? Frosty's trolling.
Oh, you are so mean. You're so mean.
Okay, Frosty, I appreciate that was a joke, mate, but not in the middle of a stream like that. Okay, that's fine. Okay, we're fine.
I wanted to die.
Okay, sorry, chat. That was just one of my mods being a numpty. Okay, it's an old tweet. I didn't look at the date. I just looked at it. It was Leicester FPL. Thank God for that. Right, should we ban Frosty from the chat?
Frosty, you absolute poo.
Yeah, Frosty sucks. Let's ban Frosty. Ban Frosty from the chat. God, that just scared the crap out of me. Ross, sorry, chat. Anyway, moving on. João Pedro's not been benched. That was a troll. Ross, I have to watch you every weekend because of my boyfriend and his fantasy. Please say hi, Jonathan, to him. Keep up the good work. Mary, firstly, I'm so sorry. Secondly, hello, Jonathan, and thank you for watching my content. Mary, I hope it's not too painful for you. Nah, Frosty, that was cold. It wasn't cold. Ban Frosty. I couldn't ever ban Frosty. Frosty knows I love him, but that was outrageous behaviour from him. That was Booner levels of troll.
I wish I was looking at the chat, because I think if I was, I would have, like, clocked down.
Oh, no, Frosty told me straight away in the chat, but I wasn't looking at the chat. I was looking at the tweet. That's the issue. Aina or 8 Nuri. I'd start Aina. Where was I? Captain João Pedro or Mbermo? I'd probably captain Mbermo ahead of João Pedro marginally. Yeah, it was an old tweet, chat. Everyone can relax. Yeah, yellow card for Frosty. Yellow card. Mr. Martin says, always nice to follow the deadline with you and your crew. I want to captain Palmer, but my team is Villa, so it will ruin the joy of watching the game. Do what you would enjoy the most. If you're not going to enjoy the game, why would you do it for an extra few points? Just do what you enjoy. So I would not captain Palmer against Villa then. I would captain someone else. I would absolutely agree that you should do things that you enjoy.
Imagine he's actually benched now.
To be fair, could you imagine if he has actually benched?
Yeah,
No, I would be extremely surprised. He's had a full week's rest. He's not going to be benched. I was so shocked. What was my heart rate?
I think mine was about...
My heart rate's 105. If I'd have had a heart attack on stream, you would have felt really bad there. Best of luck to pickling yourself. You too. You've got 9 minutes until the deadline, by the way, chat. What were your moves this week, Ross? My 3 moves were Dibbling, Haaland, and Raul Jimenez out for Saka, Isak, and João Pedro. Everyone on Andy's stream is saying Pedro's benched. I think it's a combination of people trolling that tweet and all sorts.
Yeah, because I saw KSI saying it on
Yeah. KDB punt last game week wasn't the best. KDB he's not fit and he's not okay. Something's wrong with him. I don't mean that in a horrible way, but he's just like, because Pep said he was in full training like 8 weeks ago or something ridiculous. Now it's been ages and he's just not there. So yeah, I mean, he probably will start this week, you'd imagine, but I don't really care if KSI is an anti-stream. I'm not going to lie. I don't really care for KSI that much. Like he's just a YouTuber. He's just an influencer. But go over there if you want to. Just the whole chat is just like, oh my god.
Are we forgetting that Stormzy watches these streams?
Yeah, my boy Storms is watching. Stormzy's significantly cooler and more famous than KSI. So take that, KSI. Your girl Pickle's watching another man's stream. Well, she's what she does.
After hearing that Andy tweeted through like João Pedro, I popped over there for a quick look.
Do you still play So Rare? Yeah, I play So Rare every week. I just don't tweet about it as much, I guess. But yeah, I'm playing So Rare. I can show you my teams in a bit if you want. Start Vandenberg or sell Canate to Veltman and start him. I would start Vandenberg probably. Is Dibbling starting? I don't know, but I wouldn't be relying on Dibbling this week. Well, that's the second person who's just said, is Dibbling starting? Are we really that worried? Are we really down to Dibbling on our bench? I would imagine that Dibbling does start, but I don't know. Canate to Van Hecker for a -8? No. Unless you've got no bench cover, no. Cunha captain? I think there are better captains. What about Delap? Delap's a fine hold, but I wouldn't buy him. I think there are better players to buy this week. Is captaining João Pedro good? There's a slight risk because it's a Friday kickoff. His minutes aren't great, but I don't mind captaining João Pedro. João Pedro for me is the 4th best captain this week after Palmer, Salah, and Bermo. I'd say he's 4th best. But that's just a personal preference thing, right? Captain who you want. Captain who you want. I'm so old, I had to Google who KSI is. I think if you're not from the UK and you're over the age of like 30, you probably don't have a massive idea about UK YouTubers, probably, I'd imagine. Bench 1 of Porro, 8 Nuri, Gabriel Aina. That's very tough, but I'd bench 8 Nuri there. Right, you've got just over 6 minutes till the deadline. Just over 6 minutes till the deadline. I feel like he's actually going to be benched after all this, isn't he?
No.
The thing is, everyone in the chat's saying he is, but I feel like it's just like hysteria now at this stage. It's all started with Frosty. I'm from the UK and I don't know either, but then I'm old. Yeah, this is true. I feel like, again, I don't think you have to be old. You just have to be over a certain age. Rodgers or Smith Rowe? 50-50. I'd start Smith Rowe, but it's very close. Go for Cole Palmer, Ross. I'm okay, thanks. I think if Cole Palmer does well, he does well. I expect him to do well, in fact. Like, that's why he's my vice captain, you know? Buy Saka or Palmer this week. I'd probably prioritise Palmer, personally. I have Haaland, Salah, Palmer. Any reason to captain Haaland? Not for me, no. Canate being out, maybe? Why no João Pedro captain? Friday kickoff. Minutes probably won't get 90 minutes. That's it, really. Two reasons. Why Salah captain over Palmer? Just consistency. Every week Salah gets a couple of big chances, and he normally finishes one of them.
It just feels okay, even though the fixture, like, on paper doesn't look
If
great.
Salah blanks, Salah blanks. Everyone owns him anyway. Most people are captain him. If he blanks, he blanks. I mean, there is the opportunity this week to go against him, and this is what a lot of people are doing, and I respect it, but I just can't be bothered to think about it. Someone to captain Salah. I'm so hungry as well, you know. Starving.
I was hungry, like, before your stream started, to be honest.
Start McNeil or Rodgers. I would just about say McNeil because United are all over the place defensively. Just changed my captain from Pedro to Salah. Couldn't handle the pressure. I don't blame you. Gonna bench Pedro for Semenyo. I respect the jokes for that. I respect the auto sub points. It's gonna be peak FPL that Pedro gets benched with the world and their dog is bringing him in. Yeah, potentially. I'd be very surprised. He's had a week off. Like, what are they benching him for? Unless he's got an issue we don't know about. So the risk for João Pedro for me is the Fulham and Leicester games after this. He could be benched him. Watch long stream for eating your food. Nah, not tonight. I'm gonna Muller a chicken Rogan Josh tonight. Gonna get an Indian. Panic bought Timber and sold Vardiol. That's okay. I don't know why you put in a sad face. Timber's great. Timber. If you have Timber and Wood, you've got some pretty cool jokes you can line up there. I want to captain Wood so bad, but I can't handle it emotionally. I think being able to handle it emotionally is more important. So yeah, just do what you feel like you can handle. Don't push it. Bench Smith Rowe or Rodgers is so many people's questions. It's honestly a 50-50. You are probably going to get it wrong. I would bench Rodgers and start Smith Rowe. Are you going to watch the Brighton game? Probably. But we also want to watch Harry Potter. So we've done a Harry Potter marathon, as everyone does before Christmas. Palmer has blanked in 50% of his games this season. And he's got 50% of his points in 2 game weeks. I don't understand the eagerness to captain him. You've literally answered your own question there. If Palmer's blanked in 50% of his games and got 50% of his points in 2 game weeks, that shows how big the man can go. So I think that is the whole reason for captaining Palmer, is that he does blank really often and that he goes absolutely massive in his weeks where he goes big. Also, last week he wouldn't have blanked if Madweke just moved out the way. So get some Chinese, lad. I'm much more of an Indian kind of guy.
Yeah, man.
I much prefer Indian cuisine. That's no disrespect to Chinese cuisine, by the way. I do love a good Chinese, but I'm just much more of an Indian cuisine sort of person. Rogan Josh is just unreal. I'm 5 drinks, 4 minutes away from deadline, and 1 wrong decision away from a meltdown. Should I captain Palmer? Palmer is a perfectly good captain, and I'm very happy to have him in my team. I'll just say that. Oh my god, I'm doing a Harry Potter marathon with my girlfriend as well. We're practically brothers. Love to see that, Calvin. Yeah, we've only watched the first one right now, but
Cute.
Nottingham Indian food. There are so many good Indians in Nottingham for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Ross. Glad you're feeling better. Cheers, Liz. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm feeling much better. Thanks. Ryer or Verbruggen? That is so tough. I would actually start Verbruggen. But Ryer is the better goalkeeper playing in the better defence with a higher clean sheet odd. So I just think Verbruggen's got more chance of making saves and keeping a clean sheet. And I think the fixture's better for me. Just sold Young for Timber. I like it. Is Welbeck starting? I don't know, but I would assume, if I was to predict, it's the same front four as we saw in Game Week 12. So I think it will be Ruter on the right, Matoma on the left, and then Welbeck and João Pedro. We've not seen a massive amount from Hertzler to suggest that he will rotate. Frosty said, my 7-year-old has just finished reading the first Harry Potter book. Gonna have to be buying him Harry Potter toys for Christmas at this rate. I love that. I'm so excited to like give my kids books to read and stuff like that. By the way, this isn't a reveal. We are not expecting a child. Thanks, Ross. I love you. Bye. Bye, Brandon. Good luck. Less than a minute till the deadline. Crap. I need to make sure my team's definitely locked in. I always like to just refresh on the app to just make sure that I've not made a mistake. You know, everything's saved. Give it a couple of refreshes for good luck. We are good. Would you rather take a massive poo or a relaxing pee? Relaxing pee. I actually need a pee net right now, so let's not talk about it. Yeah, make sure you're locked. Make sure you got your benching order right. Make sure you got your vice captaincy sorted because you never know. You never know what might happen. Apple?
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 You hungry?
I don't have apple. A 1 minute warning. Less than a minute. Stop asking questions. Get your teams locked in. Bring back the will, Eggy. I need a computer that can deal with the will, to be honest. Vandenberg or Johnson bench? I'd start Johnson, assuming you mean the midfielder. If you're talking about the defender, then start Vandenberg. Transfer Watkins to João Pedro. Too late now. I'd keep Watkins anyway. Right, we are locked in. Dunzo. That is us locked. I need to tweet my team out. Massive poo is extremely satisfying, though. It depends what sort of poo. I'm not going to lie. I've spent 2.5 weeks doing nothing but that because I've been ill. So,
Oh, yeah, true.
no, I didn't lock in. You numpty. You've had all that time. Oh, my God, my chin on my back. Oh, that was dutty. Oh, Perez was out in Q1.
Oh, dear. I mean, not the biggest surprise these days. But...
Wait, was that actually Lawson's radio?
What?
Oh, no. Oh, no. It's a meme, don't worry. So Perez out in Q1.
Mm-hmm.
When was that? Oh, it's on right now.
Oh, yeah.
Where's my laptop?
Uh,
Can you get... It's just there, I think. I'm going to... This might kill my internet, but I'm going to try and get the F1 up. Oh, my God, that's so cold.
oh, no.
I won't use volume because I'll get demonetized due to copyright, but I'm going to just get the F1 on. Perez is a joke of a driver. Again, yeah, I know. He's there's no chance. Unless Christian Horner, unless Perez has Christian Horner's nudes, there is no reason why. I know he has all of Mexico behind him and all of the sponsorship money. It doesn't matter. Like, he's that out in Q1 again.
Have you seen that clip of Max looking at the kind of results and probably seen Perez at the bottom? It's really funny.
No, I'm not. Like, the fact that Red Bull... Sorry about talking about for F1. We'll stop in a second. But the fact that Lando got pole... Was it all... Oh, it's over.
Oh, sad. I was thinking it's been an hour.
I thought we were in Q3. Okay. Lando pole. It's almost like he manages to do it as soon as the pressure's off. I'll have a look in a second at the standings. Now, to be fair, this is a track that I think McLaren absolutely bossed it last year, didn't they? Didn't Piastri get sprint win as well? Or sprint pole? Lawson should get the Red Bull seat. Lawson shouldn't get the Red Bull seat. Yuki Tsunoda should get the Red Bull seat. Why does Lawson deserve it more than Yuki Tsunoda? Yuki Tsunoda's been driving very consistently for a while now. He's outperformed Perez in numerous races. Ross, talking about liking Indian food is making me so patriotic. If you're ever in India, hit me up. I'd love to treat you to dinner. Mate, I don't just love Indian food. I don't think you're like, I could eat it every day of the week for the rest of my life. Like, it's so comfortably my favorite cuisine. Someone said, though, when you go to India, let me know if this is wrong, but apparently they were surprised that there weren't as many like meat dishes. I think a lot of it's like a lot more like really like tasty vegetable dishes, which honestly, I think that's where in the UK, I would imagine that the food in India is so much better because I sometimes the vegetable dishes can be a bit hit and miss in some of the Indians in the UK. But like, do you know what I'd like? Like a vegetable biryani from like in India. I feel like that would slap. Is biryani quite common in India? Or is that more of a UK thing? Don't worry. To all of the Indians watching me right now, I've never and will never eat a chicken korma. So I hope you're happy with that. Chicken korma is not for me. Yeah, India is predominantly vegetarian, yeah. I mean, I have no issue with that. The vegetarian dishes are unreal. Yeah, I know. Sometimes it is honestly nicer. Vegetable biryani isn't that great. Biryani's Pakistani. Oh, is it? No way. Let me. Are you pulling my leg, or is it actually? To be fair, there was like a Pakistani style, like an Indian Pakistani style restaurant that I used to go to, where the owners, I think, like two of them were from Pakistani anyway. It had those roots, and that was actually really nice cuisine as well. See, this says India and Iran is the origin for biryani, but it is quite popular in Pakistan. Don't know. Anyway, I'm so hungry with all of this talk. Shall I tell you what I love more than anything? Is a cheeky Peshwari naan. Very underrated. Everyone will go for a garlic naan. And listen, I love garlic naan, but a Peshwari naan, especially if you pair a Peshwari naan with a really spicy dish, let's say you go for a vindaloo or a madras, a Peshwari naan in a chicken tikka madras, the spice with the like sweetness of the coconut, it's just wonderful. Just wonderful.
Oh, we're so hungry.
I'm so hungry.
Making it so much worse.
I'm so hungry. Oh my goodness, chat! I just want to order. I'm going to order so much food tonight. Ross, tip on Indian culture: biryani is called when it has meat. If it is vegetables, it's called pulao. Pulao. Pulao.
I think.
Pulao. Okay, thank you for that. I didn't realize that. That's really weird because obviously in the UK we'd call it a vegetable biryani, but that makes sense. Oh, pickle! I'm gonna get so much food tonight. The thing is, the Indian that we go from, the Bombay Aloo, really isn't nice.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It depends. If you want to go to Taste of India, then the Bombay Aloo is really good from there. That's the one where you get the biryani from, right? Yeah. Depends if you want the. Basically, we've got to. Sorry, Charles. Oversharing and also talking about stuff people don't care about. But we've got two Indians. One Indian's really good for a couple of things, and the other Indian's really good for another few things. But they both have things that they're not so good for. So it's like, which thing is most important to you this week? What are your predictions for Southampton-Brighton? I think 2-0 Brighton. You're talking about Indian food with the same passion as FPL. I'd say I'm more passionate about Indian food than FPL. Ross's food bill is off the charts. I'll be honest, I spend an obscene amount on food. Yeah, I spend all of my money on food. Dude, stop, I'm now craving biryani. Honestly. Order from both and keep the first one warm in the oven. Frosty, I'm not talking to you after your antics. No, you're not wrong, though. That's not a bad shout. Should we order from both places?
I mean, it's a special night.
Place near me does a Naganji Hydora. I'm going to have to copy that and actually Google that because I've never even heard of either of those things. Those two words sound new to me. Naganji Hydora. What is that? Naga Hydra is a serpentine creature approximately 20 feet long. What have you made me Google? Looks like a big snake. I don't even know what that is. Have you just made me say like a curse word or something? Never even heard of that. Nothing came up when I Googled it either. What am I going to go for? If we order from one place, I get a chicken madras. If we order from the other place, I'll get a chicken Rogan Josh. Chicken Rogan Josh?
Yeah, and
Chicken madras.
I get a chicken Rogan Josh from one place, but veggie biryani. Or a pilau from the.
I was going to say, did you want to feature on the stream?
No.
That's fine. Tweet my team. Frosty, the ADHD kicked in. I was meant to do that. I opened Instagram, checked F1, and we started talking about F1. Thank you for reminding me. I really need help, honestly.
Why shouldn't I come on camera?
Game week 13 team lock. We're going to do, so we did Haaland to, we're going to get to, camera. We're going to get team news for João Pedro soon as well. I'll stay to the team news at least. Nana will be so proud. My nan's a massive feeder. She's always very proud when I eat food and talk about food. I love her though.
Aww.
Honestly, my nan used to make a curry every Wednesday. It was Nana's curry on a Wednesday.
Oh, that's sweet.
It slapped. It wasn't like completely homemade or anything, but it was just the vibe of my nan coming round and us having curry on a
Oh,
Wednesday.
that's very sweet though.
Yeah. Can't believe I made 3 transfers. It's very exciting. I'm sure it'll backfire somehow, even though there's such massive upgrades. I swear to God, if Haaland gets more than 1 return,
You probably will.
my nan said you're making me feel very hungry. I'm making myself feel hungry, honestly. So, yeah, we captained Salah, didn't we? Salah cap. Let me use my camera back. Yep. 791k. Finally sold Haaland. Let his goals commence. I'm pretty happy with my team. The only thing I'm not happy with is this week I don't really love Sanchez in net, but you never know. You never know. Ross, I like your haircut. Very astonishing. Thank you. Oh, no, he missed my super chat. Oh, I'm sorry, mate. Let me check. Didn't mean to. I was just probably not looking at the chat at that point. 1 sec. Just tweet my team. Haaland. Done. Done. Oh, I need to tweet on Blue Sky as well, don't I? For God's sake. Not tweet, but post. So difficult having two places where you've got to post stuff.
Oh, bloody hell.
Oh, so Satyabrat. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your name. Satyabrat. Satyabrat. That's definitely not how you pronounce it, is it? Lots of love to you and Pickle. Love from India. Big love. There is a big Indian fan base, by the way, on my channel. You're normally the 3rd or 4th most views are coming from India. So big love to India, honestly. So many. Do you still use Blue Sky? A little bit. A little bit.
I must admit, guys, I was at first, but my brain is struggling to use 2 platforms at once.
I struggle, and I'm a content creator, so I don't blame you. Right, I just want to make sure I tweet my team everywhere. Ross, you need to try Egyptian food for real. I've actually been to Egypt once, but it was obviously I went to just a normal hotel, so it was. I don't think there was much Egyptian food. Honestly, when I went there, there was a siren at the hotel, and everyone had to go inside for 2 hours because it was that hot. It was like 44 degrees or something stupid. It was way too hot when we went. It was like a heat wave. The Egyptians were like, "You're not going to survive this week." I was like in like year 7 at the time, but it was 44 when the siren went off. It was mad. Like, it was so hot. There was a point when I went with Joe and we were in the swimming pool, and there was no one in the swimming pool, no one sunbathing because it was too hot. And we were just in the pool playing because we're just kids, but it was so hot.
Oh, God. You get burnt?
No.
Damn.
Just smothered myself in sun cream. But we went to Sharm el Sheikh.
Oh, very nice.
And we went to a place called Sharks Bay in Egypt, which is literally called Sharks Bay because there are so many sharks. When you get there, they're like, do not go in the sea. Apparently there's a little like cove and literally sharks swim right up to the...
I think my auntie's been to Sharm el Sheikh before. A few times. I've never been to Egypt, actually.
Right, I think I've put my tweem? I put my tweem everywhere. Ross, do you like eating slippers with ketchup? Sometimes. Hey Ross, big fan of the pod and wondered if you would ever get a listener on. Maybe if you win the mini league would be a cool prize. So, firstly, thank you very much, Ralph. I've got 2 ideas. Maybe if you win the mini league, that's one option. But my other option, and this is going to sound really elitist, so I want to try and find a way to suggest this as an idea without getting absolutely battered. But I wonder if I could upload like a Google Drive folder or something, or people that could like transfer me files where they just transfer me a few minutes of them speaking. Because I know this sounds really bad, but at the forefront of my mind is I want it to be a good podcast that the viewers and listeners will enjoy. And there's always a risk when you invite someone on that you don't know that they'll get there, be super nervous, have no idea how to present, not know their stuff. So if people could send me like a 3-minute like tester of them talking about one of the games from the previous game week, it would allow me to just select some people that I feel like would be really good for the podcast. So I'm wondering if maybe next season, maybe not this season, but next season, if I find a way where people can send me a couple of tester clips, and maybe I select 4 or 5 people throughout the season that listen that just would do an okay job. So that's kind of my thought. Because yeah, I just worry that if you get someone on that is absolutely awful, like it would be a good experience for them, but it's not going to be a good listening experience. The only concern then, something Yappuccino, bro's yapping. The only concern is my live stream. I'm going to yap. The only concern would be obviously if I get sent like 500 videos and there's no way to get through them. Yeah, thanks, Ralph. So I would consider it. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I would really, really like to get some listeners on. That would be really good. Ross, what is the most points you've ever got in a game week? I think it's like 147 or something. Bro speaking Japanese. You could select from your members. I've already invited a couple of members on that I know would be willing to do it. It's again, though, like a lot of my members are wonderful, but they either don't live in the UK or they just wouldn't want to necessarily come on the podcast because they're a bit shy. I've tried convincing my bloody girlfriend 400 times to come on, but you don't want to be on the podcast because you're too shy. Imagine people going to the effort of making a good demo, then you just tell them they're awful or not suitable will go down well. This is the other thing. It's like sad. It's like turning people down, isn't it? No. Got a quick question, Ross. Who do you think I should get instead of Kanate? I mean, assuming you know that you've missed the deadline, it's for next week. I would still go Timber. Team news. Yes, 1 minute. Please start, João Pedro.
Oh my god, I will never speak to Frosty again.
I honestly just didn't look at the date and just so sad.
That was very upsetting.
Just so sad. It's going down. Timber, you bet him. if you know what I'm singing, you know what I'm singing.
Maybe we should sing.
João Pedro starts.
Thank God.
Dunk is on the bench, by the way. Igor's still starting.
Oh dear.
Oh, Lamptey starting. Where's Veltman? Veltman's not in the squad. Do we know that? Estepinian, Van Hecker, Igor, Lamptey. Wait, what am I looking at? Let me look at this. So the back line is Lamptey, Igor. Lamptey, Igor. Van Hecker, Estepinian. Then it's Welbeck as the 9. Jorginho Ruta. Matoma off the left. Okay, so it is still the same front 4 that we thought. And then it's Ayari and O'Reilly as the midfield 2. Has that been their midfield 2 all season? It's a good team. It's pretty much their strongest 11. I see no issue with it. I don't know where Veltman is. Southampton's team, if anyone's interested, because I wouldn't know if Dibbling starts. Dibbling does start. Dibbling starts. Archer starts. I'm assuming they're the only 2 people that people own. Lumley starts ahead of McCarthy this time. Sugawara starts. Walker Peters starts. Harold Bellis starts. Wood on the bench, but that is Southampton's Wood. I didn't even know Southampton had a Wood, to be honest. I don't have Wood. Why are you being sus, chat? I can already tell. I can already tell the sus comments from a mile off. O'Reilly is new. I thought, oh, Balaba's suspended. Thank you. I was like, who is missing from their midfield? That was what was throwing me. O'Reilly's been injured and Balaba's now suspended for 1 game. Okay, makes sense. Ross, if you ever sing again, I'll come to your house and take the Yappuccino out your stomach. Everyone loves Wood. I have Wood. I like... Harry benched Wood. No, he did. Oh, he did, but he started Semenyo. I hate it when he does that. He thinks he's so funny. He's not funny, you know? Right, chat, I love you. Like, I really do. Don't get me wrong. You're the best. And I would love to sit here all night. But my stomach is eating itself. Pickle, bless her, was hungry about 4 hours ago. So we're going to decide which Which one are you leaning to right now? Talk to me on stream.
Cod throat comes a little quicker. But, the pilau. I'm going to call it pilau now. It's so nice.
Okay, we're going to decide. I don't know which Indian we're going to get. We're going to get Indian food. I'll maybe let you know which one we go for.
I'm terrible at making sushi.
I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope if you get an Indian yourself, that is absolutely wonderful. I hope you have a brilliant game week. Hopefully, João Pedro scores, let's say, 7 goals this evening. That would be nice. And yeah, remember, by the way, deadline is on Tuesday. So Tuesday evening will be my next deadline stream, which means that my team selection video is probably going to be Sunday evening, which is really weird. And then I'll probably have a deadline decisions video on either Monday evening or Tuesday morning. So yeah, bear that in mind. There will be an FPL therapy episode on Monday as well, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you all. I love you all very much, and I will catch you next time. Thank you guys. Bye.